All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back today, but this time we're playing a new game. Perhaps you've heard of it. It is called Huckleberry, and the wonderful, brilliant, creative, intelligent designer is right below me. His name is Steven, and we're going to let Steven talk for a little bit about the game, tell us a little about what it is, because he can introduce it better than anyone else. And then we're going to tell him to get the hell out of here, and we're going to play the game without him. And that's how this is going to work. And so he has to sit there and stew in all our terrible choices, how we screw up the rules, how we screw up the setting. It's going to be crazy. How everybody just talks like John Travolta all of a sudden. Things like that is what's going to happen. So
I am here for it. This is going to be a blast. Thank you all for playing. You're all my heroes. Huckleberry is a Weird West action horror game. It's not rules light, but it is meant to emphasize narrative, cinematic moments. Think like Hellboy and Tombstone. You know, like it's got a weird mix of folk horror, body horror, and all in a weird, corny Western setting. It should be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what Jeff does with it because this adventure that he's running is called The Divine Comedy. And it will be the intro scenario that is bundled with the book. So everyone who has the PDF will be getting a copy of this scenario. And basically, I handed him just a pile of chicken scratch notes. And I'm interested to see how he brings it to life. So I'm super excited for this. It's going to be a blast.
It's pretty great. So I shared my session notes with Steven, and the first thing he noticed was like I have question marks all over the place because like they're just information on certain things.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what this means.
I should probably tell you that, shouldn't I?
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Have you run this yet? Have you actually run this for any of your?
I have run this scenario 4 times.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, this is has anyone actually run Huckleberry? Have you had anybody other than yourself run Huckleberry?
I've not had anyone confirm that they've run it. Okay. No one has told me. So you might be the first one. I mean, it only came out 2.5 weeks ago. So it's a good chance that you're doing the premiere here.
That is true. But people who followed the website earlier would have gotten it sooner. So it's actually, there was the soft release before the soft release. So
yeah.
It's the softer release. I don't know.
Like 21 days ago. Yes.
21 days. So basically Huckleberries of drinking age is where we're at. That's what I hear.
Right? Yes. Jeff, we should keep you away from 21-day-old babies because...
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. It's been days. It's felt like years because I've been very busy. So, yeah. You should keep me away from babies of all kinds, to be honest. I tend to get... Oh, my goodness. You should ask my sister. Her kids, they end up with black eyes somehow. I know out of context, it sounds terrible, but just...
Phrasing.
I just have trouble with coordination around them. I don't know what it is. I'm like all elbows.
I'm so with you.
Yeah.
And boys,
and they don't have coordination.
Always,
yeah.
Just,
Yeah. They want to run. I mean, not babies
don't go
anymore,
near babies because there's no like appropriately sized muffin basket to apologize for dropping someone's baby. Like there's no apology basket big enough.
Yeah. No, that's how I feel. Like the first time I held my first nephew, I nearly knocked him into a hot mug of coffee. So that was really just a bad sign, and things just sort of went out of control since then. So 17 black eyes later, stitches, things like that. And now I don't see them anymore. So is this how you expected?
Is it court mandated?
It's not court mandated. We are legally their guardians, in fact, too, in case something terrible were to happen. We are the emerging guardians. So, whoopsie, that's a bad decision. Anyhow, so Steven, if folks wanted to know more about Huckleberry, if they wanted to find it, if they wanted to test it out for themselves, what can they do?
Well, there are 2 things they could do. First, they could go to huckleberryrpg.com, which has all of the links that you could ever ask for. And it's got information on where you could buy the game and also information on where you could play the game, which leads us to the second thing. If you really want to know more about Huckleberry, you see us playing, you see them playing, and looks like they're having a lot of fun, which they will be. You could also play for yourself. I run regular sessions on the Adventures in Lollygagging Discord. They're free to play. You don't have to own the book, so you can try it before you buy. So join the Discord, click on the little thumbs up to accept the rules, click on the little cowboy hat to get the playtest roll, and you'll be able to join in sessions whenever you want.
All right, fantastic. I think we're ready to start. I think we're good to go, unless you have more advertisements to do. Good. Advertisements? I was like in between.
I appreciate this. You guys are going to have fun. I'm excited to watch.
You appreciate it now. You just wait. Just wait.
It sounds like a threat.
Yeah, I already told Steven one of the rules I'm completely throwing out right away. It's gone. It's out of there. Okay.
And I said you have my full support.
Steven will be around. He's going to hang out and chat. He'll also, if we butcher something really terrible, or if we get super confused, we'll bring him back onto the screen. But otherwise, Steven's going to go away now. But he can hear everything you're saying. Everything we're saying. It would be weird if he could hear what you're saying. But hear everything we're saying, and he'll be in chat hanging out if you have questions, all that kind of good stuff. But otherwise, we're going to say goodbye to Steven. Bye, Steven.
Bye, Steven.
Bye, Steven.
Bye, Steven.
And now the overlay looks 100 times better. Okay, everyone can stretch out. We got all this room here. This is great.
Got space over here.
It's fantastic. Yeah, like long, and unless I could just reach out. Okay.
How do I turn off my Zoom screen, though?
What? Jesus. Okay. The good thing is I can't actually see him because I don't play off of my Zoom. I play off of my OBS, so I can't actually see Steven now, so I feel kind of sad. But that's fine.
Aww.
All right. And he can't, and I don't have like a secret. If he says anything, it goes out on stream. So it's not just like a secret voice to me. Anyhow, we ready? We good to go? You all know how to play? We've all played before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've all played, so all relatively familiar with it. So, but this is my first time running, so be nice. And this we're planning on doing this for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Like that's the plan. So this is going to be intro characters, getting all stuff set up, and so the scenario somewhere between 2 to 3 sessions. We'll see how it goes. All right. So let me give you some background first. So you all obviously know each other already. We're going to say you are part of you're part of an outfit already, and you've done some work together. We're going to do some little group building here in a second. But in terms of the current job that you are on, you all are all Mavics that have found yourselves working together for a little while now. We'll figure that out. Maybe several drives, maybe just a few. And recently, you all agreed to a new job for the Schuler Company. There's a Y in there, and that really makes my pronunciation of it uncertain. But we're going to go Schuler Company. And it's a manufacturing conglomerate in the region. Everybody would be somewhat familiar with the company. They are seeking capable and fearless escorts to safely deliver one of their executives, a young man by the name of Kaz Thamer, to King City. And the good news is that there are no dusty trails or anything like that you have to travel, because the Schuler Company has purchased tickets both for Kaz and for yourselves on a luxury steamboat known as the Divine Comedy. 5 days, 4 nights, up the Huckleberry River, and all you need to do during that travel is just keep an eye on Mr. Thamer, and that should be relatively easy to do, considering it's a single ship. What could possibly go wrong? So we're going to start up then in our usual kind of cinematic opening. Hopefully, Steven is handling the handouts for the players. I'll be doing that for the stream, and hopefully everyone gets to see everything. Okay. We open the sound of hustle and bustle. We hear voices shouting commands, confirmations of commands. We hear various people cursing one another for cutting in this line or that line. We hear the creak of wooden planks, or the crack of a crate that falls down onto like a dock or onto the deck of the ship. We hear the lapping of the river water against the hull, kind of just like up against the boat itself. And we see the steamer itself, this paddle steamer, and we kind of quickly weave around it. Bone white almost everywhere, except there are some very bright scarlet highlights that really pop, especially around the wheel itself, which is right now inert, not moving, but you can see these little circular overlays here and there within the wheel. And We also notice that there's these twin smokestacks that just seem to tower and loom over like the entirety of this vessel. And they're like puffing this black smoke high into the air. And we can see that all around there's these exterior balconies and stairs. There's maybe 4 decks, but like three balconies, and then there's the promenade up top. And we can see that there's other folks who have already boarded, who are like leaning on some of the railings of the second or the third, or even up on the promenade, like waving to friends or family down on the shore. We see crew scampering up and down and past all these others, kind of trying to make the boat get ready. And we can see these ramps from the front of the ship have extended out of the nose at a very gentle angle and onto the shore, or onto like this little dock area. And that's where we see all these passengers and dock workers that are lined up carrying trunks, some of them late crew who are getting these very stern looks from what you assume is likely the captain and the first mate, waiting and greeting passengers as they come up. And among this thrall is you all. So we're going to do this a little random. The first person we see, I'm going to give you... so we're gonna kind of go around. We're gonna introduce your character, tell us what we see, and then I have another little wrinkle that'll help us. So the first person we see coming up, as now we're like, let's say we're on the ship looking down these ramps, and as like one passenger comes by, gets a little tip of the cap, shakes the hand of the captain, this sort of kind of stern-looking, dark-skinned man with a long beard that he has tucked into his belt. And then from the first mate, who's even sterner looking and can barely offer even a word or two of greeting, we see one of you. And the first person we're going to see is, let's see who it's going to be. The first person we see is Long. So Long, as we see your person come up, we can see that you are carrying one end of a very, very large and heavy trunk. What do you look like? Describe your character.
Lullaby. He's a shaman. He's got pelts of animals all over. A 4-foot log across his head as a helmet. Tattoos, stars that show navigation. And I'm easily carrying this big front part of this escort box. I've never been on a water beast. I'm so excited.
And you say that, and like you can see the captain standing before you as you start cresting up over the edge of the ramp, and you put your first foot down onto the deck, and the captain looks at you, takes you in for a second. Well, we are pleasure to have you aboard there, sir. Keep moving along, please. And then he turns and he kind of motions to this man standing next to him. This is my first mate. This is Mr. Swinson. I'll be glad to direct you. And then as he's like saying that, there's like this cough. Excuse me, please. There's a few of us waiting. And behind Lullaby, on the other side of the trunk, there is somebody else standing, but it's the person behind that other who is like calling out, this well-dressed, kind of extremely well-dressed, in fact, looking man with a big old like oiled mustache, and he is trying to kind of make his way up and push past. This is Cass Thamer. And he's sort of leaning over the shoulder of somebody else, and that somebody else is gonna be, let's see who it is. Who's next? Who's got the other half of the trunk? I just rolled like 30 things. Okay. So the person who's been like helping carry this trunk up the ramp with you, who did I have? Is Maitre. So Maitre, you're like there's this massive trunk. Lullaby is up front. You're in the back, and then behind you, you can feel Kaz Thamer leaning on your shoulder and just kind of calling past. You can smell kind of like his perfume breath and his perfume clothing and such here and there. What do you look like? So describe your character for us.
Lena is similarly dark-skinned, but you might not be able to tell because she's got her hat pulled real low, and she's got black hair tied up in a low ponytail. She's wearing pretty ratty-looking leathers, and for all intents and purposes, might look even a little bit haggard and tired, which sort of belies the almost supernatural speed she actually does have, but she makes it a point to come across a little tired at all times and fairly nondescript.
Okay. So, Lena, you are currently on the bottom side because there's a small incline. Lullaby has stopped momentarily and is exchanging words with this captain, his long beard tucked underneath his belt, and you can see the end of the beard goes even further down towards his knees. And then behind you, screaming into your ear, up towards the front, is Kaz Thamer, the very person that you have been hired to protect. Now, Lullaby, you, this is just random for us. Lullaby, I rolled this for you. You and Lena are best friends. How long have you two known each other? And how did you meet? How did the two of you meet? Go ahead, Lullaby. So this is on you, Long. And you're welcome to help him out, Lighttrain.
I've known Lullaby since... Oh, Lullaby has known Lena for months now. Ever since we entered a town together, she offered to take my money from me. And I obliged, and she has been a great friend since.
What did she take your money for?
She said she liked the booze in town. And I took her word for it. I didn't even try it.
Okay. So you met her in a former town, and you basically went boozing together, and so you spent all your money on booze for you and her. Is that right?
Exactly. And I didn't get to try any of it. So we're drinking buddies, but I'm not doing any of the drinking.
You're drinking buddies, but really you're just feeding all the drink to Lena. Okay.
So happy about this.
So Lena got all the alcohol and the money.
Okay.
Lullaby? No wonder Lullaby's my best friend.
I think it makes perfect sense. It's like they just buy you booze over and over again.
Really?
So you get the two of you, along with Kaz, you come moving up a little bit onto the actual deck itself. We can see Captain, he introduces himself. He's Captain Carrington. And then he kind of turns at this point and he tries to introduce you to a second man, who he refers to as his first mate. It's a man by the name of Sim Swenson. He also has a little bit of a rough and kind of a rough exterior. You can tell that like every now and then, mid conversation, he'll shout out, and you can see there might be like a someone slacking off, like leaning against one of the capstans off to the side, like where the big old anchors currently aren't anchored because we're like right next to the dock. But you can see like someone like slacking off over there. He's like, get back to work. What do you do? We're gonna be late. You slack offs. And he's just screaming here and there, and then turns back around and says, welcome to the ship. Welcome to the Divine Comedy. Welcome. One by one, shaking hands as he does so. And then he's like, yeah, lazy, good for nothing. Pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Good to see you. And you can tell that this is all very, like, reluctant on his part. And and every time he's forced to shake the hand of somebody, the captain kind of gets a stern look from him. You get the feeling that Mr. Swenson here is not too happy with having to, like, do this kind of meet and greet kind of thing here and there. So the two of you get up. When you're carrying this big old trunk, and it's enormous, so you can probably fit like 2 or 3 bodies in here. Like it's enormous, but that's obviously not what's inside. It's various changes of clothes and all that kind of stuff. But as you're standing here, and like the captain's like shaking hands here and there, like the captain, or excuse me, Cass kind of leans over to Lena, and he's like, "I thought it would be bigger, grander even, but this will have to do. It, I was on much bigger ships not too long ago, but I suppose it's only 5 days more. Can you move any faster there, Captain?" And the captain just says, "Well, we move as fast as the river allows." And they kind of take the two of you in. They take the captain in, and there's like this weird moment where they're getting the sense of things. Okay. And at this point, as you two are waiting there, having not yet been allowed to set your trunks down, the Kaz is standing like right in the way of our other two members, who currently are carrying not one, but two of these trunks stacked atop one another, sweat pouring down their faces, and he just won't get out of the way as he's just taking in the grandeur of the Divine Comedy. And then he turns back around and he yells right into the face of the next person, you're not getting paid to stand around, chop chop, and like right in your face. And this next person, this one's gonna be, let's see who it is. What does he yell at? He yells at Melissa / Petra. So tell us who it is we see there, Petra.
So you see a woman who you almost kind of can't see her face. She's got like a big sombrero on, tan skin. She's got a kind of a long braid. She's got a charo type of jacket, snakeskin belts, and a long skirt. And she is much more slight of frame. So her side is definitely kind of like sliding down, and she is like desperately waiting to be able to put this thing down.
Okay. So as you waddle up past him, as he finally steps out of your way, and you're now onto the deck, and Lena and Lullaby have kind of shuffled off to the side to give way. We turn back to Lena for a second. Lena, Petra, you secretly hate Petra. Why is that? What is it? What is it about Petra? What kind of causes such this underlying hate? What do you think it might be? These are all randomly rolled, by the way. This is all just testing the players. Why does Lena help? And Petra, you're welcome to help.
Sorry. I was just unmuting for like half a second. Petra caught me. Didn't even really happen. I was just eyeing someone to see if they'd be good target pickpocketing, and I was just checking their coat pocket to see if there was anything, and Petra got really judgmental about the whole thing, and yeah, I wish she would just mind her own business, honestly.
And I think what you don't know is that she was actually eyeing them for a mark. So you think it's for one reason. It's actually for a different reason.
Okay. So as we see, like, Petra start to waddle up again with two of these giant trunks stacked atop one another, we can barely see the last member who is on the other side of this, as the two of you have been forced to carry two of the trunks, while Lena and Lullaby have only been forced to carry one. But before, like, there's this opportunity right as like Petra and we'll introduce in a second, Dora, we see from the other plank this woman with like kind of a also fairly rough and tumble. She's got some animal skins hanging here and there. Her skin is all kind of blemished here, like she's been out in the sun quite a bit. You can see she's taking a quick, not at all subtle swig from some kind of flask, and she bumps into your executive Mark, Cass. It doesn't look like it was intentional. Everyone's just kind of funneling off of these two ramps, and you can see towards the stairs that would take them to their various cabins. And right as it does so, Cass just kind of turns. He's like, "Well, I never." And like, this woman continues to turn. She turns around. She looks him up and down. You can see she's missing a few teeth here and there, and her face looks like, leather that has been out in the sun for far too long. And she says, "Well, hi, mate. If I had enough whiskey." And then she just starts walking past. You hear a couple of the crew start to chuckle. Even the captain has to like smother this little smile. Not the first mate. And you can just hear her whistling away. And Cass turns around right at Petra. And then as this trunk comes up and we finally see Dora appear, he is just
I get accosted by a filthy scamp and you two stand there doing nothing. Nothing.
So what does Dora look like there, Ashley, as she's getting dressed down by your executive mark?
So Dora Vix is nearly 7 foot tall. She wears a long duster jacket that she had to take an additional duster jacket and cut the bottom off and then sew on to her duster so that it actually would cover her properly. She's got jeans on. Obviously, those are stitched together as well. And she's got, stands, whatever you want to call them. And she's got her cowboy hat and bright, unnaturally red hair. It's very distinguishing. Came out the womb. People don't understand it, and neither does she. And she looks down her nose at this man and just, "Sorry, sir, I didn't quite see you there." As she again huffs these double chests up. "I'll keep a better eye down on you from here on out, you promise."
So you like tower over him, probably, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks up. I don't know how you couldn't see her. You're so tall. You're as tall as the smokestacks.
He's kind of pointing up towards him.
I was looking ahead for other potential dangers, but I'll keep a closer eye directly on you.
And then Cass nods as if that was a good answer, and then turns to Petra.
You should be more like this one. What's your name again?
And turns back to Dora.
My name, sir, I'm Dora Vix, but you can call me Red.
I can't remember all that. You, the tall one, you should act more like her, the tall one. You understand?
He's motioning towards Petra.
Do you understand?
You have paid me to take care of you if you fall ill.
I am getting very ill just from standing here and talking to you. Oh, where are my cabins? Someone take me to my cabins.
And he just kind of stretches. You hear his shoulders crack a bit here and there. As all of you have now made it up onto the deck, you look around and you can see you're one of the last probably to board, and you can see that there's some people who are leaning over. Like Dora, you notice on the second level balcony leaning over, there's a woman almost as tall as you, kind of awkward, ill-fitting clothes, just sort of peering down. She has this long hooked nose, just kind of eyeing this little incident as it's not quiet, and you can see that she's just looking at you and assessing your height versus hers. And then at a certain point, you hear the captain and the first mate argue a bit, and he's like,
Shim, just take him. This is so. Take him to the presidential suite. This is a priority guest. Treat him. Stop it.
And then finally, you can see Sim sighs, and then turns to the rest of you.
If you would follow me, I will be glad to take you to your suite.
And he just starts walking down the deck towards one of these stairs. Do you all follow with your giant trunks?
Yeah, and I turn to Dora. Dora, look at this. We're not sinking.
Truly is amazing, isn't it, Lullaby?
How is this possible? I just start jumping up and down with the box.
You jump up and down with the box. How is Lena handling the fact that the other end of the trunk is now hopping up and down? How are you handling that, Lena?
She's delighted in how happy Lullaby seems to be.
Okay. So, as you all start following the first mate deeper into the boat towards one of these stairs, let's go back to Petra and Dora for a second. So Petra, you and Dora bonded over the dumbest thing imaginable. So favorite color or something like that. What was that extremely dumb thing that you and Dora bonded over?
I'm going to say the thing that we bonded over was that we had a little too much to drink on a particular evening, and we had kind of gone around kind of outside of this establishment because we'd kind of finished with kind of taking in the drinks, and now is the time of the night for them to kind of go in the other direction. And we just happened to kind of come around the building at the same time and sort of like made the same puddle as we were throwing up together. And somehow that was a bonding experience for the two of us, that we were ill together, and, the ties that bind.
That makes perfect sense. I went to college.
A tiny woman having the same tolerance as me, that's something to admire.
That's true.
Nice.
True. And so as we see the four of you, your three massive trunks, Kaz Thamer, who is impatiently waiting for you all to catch up with him and the first mate, who have easily climbed these stairs. The last connection I want to make is between Dora and Lullaby. Dora, you're indebted to Lullaby because they saved your life once. How did that happen? Like, what were the circumstances, Dora?
So Lullaby and I are so fascinated with this water creature that we're floating upon because we have attempted to create our own before. Unfortunately, it was just a tarp, and I did sink straight to the bottom of a lake. But Lullaby was quick thinking, and he did have a rope with him, and so he did help tug me back upon shore and save my life. And while I was down there, I caught us 2 fish, and that's what we had for lunch that day. So I would say still a very productive day. I owe him my life.
Okay, fantastic. So as we continue to climb up these stairs, everything is painted white. So you can the stairs, the steps themselves, they're wood. The railings are iron or metal of some kind, painted over here and there, rounded. You can see all the railings and such. And once or twice you pass by like another member who is on this voyage, or one of the crew, or you hear Swenson kind of shout down at somebody he can see below not doing their job, that sort of thing. Unless spoken to, he's very, very quiet and kind of keeps to himself. But eventually, when you get up to the second level, he like references the various things that you can find here and such. And like there's lounges, dining hall, etc. And he'll mention something about there being a proper dining meet and greet later this evening as the sun sets, that sort of thing. But then he takes you up to the 3rd floor, and he says the deck, and he says this is specifically where all the cabins are. And when you come in, like you come into this hall, and you hang a left. As you come down the hall, which essentially would take you towards the front of the boat, whereas going to the right would take you to the back of the boat. You can see little signs that says first class, which is the direction you're heading, and then there's a sign that says second class, and that's going towards the back of the boat here and there. You bump past this kind of well-dressed gentleman. You can see he's got a little bit of a top hat, and he's got what looks like a very stern, like dark blue or black vest and jacket. He's got a small little cane that he doesn't seem to need, but he has more for affectation. And he tries to slip past you, and he's like, pardon me, madams, pardon me. And he just slips past you a little bit, going out towards the stairs, and starts winding down. As you're passing by, as you're kind of moving through this hall, you notice that there's a couple like weird paintings that are hanging on the interior halls. Like you're moving past, you see these different cabin doors. There's some interior cabins, and then there's others that are exterior that likely have like windows that view the water itself. But you see these like really bizarre looking, bizarre looking in paintings. They're absurdist. They show like these anthropomorphic animals in some cases, or goblins or scarecrows. They all look fairly whimsical in variety. Like you can see that there's 1 or 2 in the hall here or there, and you can see a second one if you were to kind of go right down the second class style. Each one of them has some kind of label in like a language that maybe you all don't fully immediately notice, but they're all like kind of impeccably impeccably painted. Like whoever the craftsmanship of it is pretty impressive. So I'll show you one of them. So go ahead and Steven, show them like the first one. Show them 01. And I will do the same. So, oh, that's not 01, you little liar. It's okay. I'll do what you said. Okay. And so one of the ones you see is like this large kind of almost like a big mouth bass that has essentially looks like this bipedal jester. And so they're dressed up like some kind of medieval court jester with this comically oversized hat, not unlike the size of maybe Petra's like sombrero. And you see this long, weird, like wheat, like stalk of wheat or feather coming out of it at one point. And a few of them, these are all kind of bedecked here and there. And this is all amidst what looks like these fairly luxurious walls, well painted. You can smell the oil here and there. You can look at these handrails that are all kind of glistening with polish. And this one is like right outside of the door of this mahogany colored door that Swenson reaches out, turns the handle of, and pushes open. And you can see inside is this beautiful suite as you one by one try to push your way in. Now the trunks are too big to fit, so you're doing that classic like tilt it this way, tilt it that. like
no, my right.
No, maybe if we took the wheels off, and you don't have wheels. But eventually you find yourselves inside of what looks to be the presidential suite. Your guest or your guide is very he's very terse in his description of it. As he just sort of points, bar, bed, goodbye, and then turns and goes to the door and is making to leave. So you look around inside of this presidential suite, and you can tell that, first of all, there's 3 rooms, master bedroom. There's this living area with this full bar, and you can see there's this small little office nook, and there are large windows in each one of them. This is more than likely like the largest of the suites in this entire ship. You notice though that you have like there's no beds or rooms for you. Like yours are down the hall a bit. But everything is luxurious. Every detail. You see the water out through the windows. You hear the humming of the ship as the paddle is starting to go, as you can tell that you're getting ready to cast off. So as you set some stuff down, Cass looks to you all and he says, "Well, I was expecting something a bit grander, but I suppose this will have to do. Only 3 rooms and no couch. How very interesting. A place to lounge." Think to myself. Anyhow, well, I'm sure you're all nearly as tired as I am, so I'll leave you to it then. Off with you. Find your own places where you're going to crawl up and sleep. I expect to be escorted later tonight to the dining hall. If you want to take a little time to yourselves first, it's fine.
Man, Cass, I shall take this room.
No, this is not your room. You are a...
But you've got 3 of them. Just let them have one.
No. I need all of these rooms. That one's where I sleep. This one is where I relax, as he points to the bar. And this one is to where I entertain the difficulties of being a corporate executive in the manufacturing world of today. Are any of you executives in the manufacturing world of today? No, you're not. Because if you were, you would not be working for me. Yes? Now.
No, but I am one of the men keeping you safe. Should I not be nearby?
You have your own rooms down the hall. And scurry off to them now. Oh, I can smell you from here. Take a cloth to your face, perhaps. Goodness.
Oh,
All right.
I lift one of the pelts and just wipe my face with it.
Yeah.
We'll see you when it's time. We'll come and escort you. You just let us know if you do want one of us to stay and guard you overnight. Otherwise, we'll be in our rooms.
You tall woman, one moment. The rest of you. Off.
Dora, before I go, do you have any chips available?
I don't, but we'll acquire some, okay?
Sorry, Lena. I can't give you anything for drinks. And we'll leave.
That's okay. And she hands over a cigarette that she's just rolled.
Okay, head out to your rooms, please.
Thank you. Off with you. I have business to attend to.
And
You're still here.
Lynn will leave, lighting her cigarette and lullabies.
Shall we go
Okay.
take a look at the beast?
They call it a ship.
But it is better if you call it a beast in the stories.
So, as you all leave, he motions for the tall woman to stay behind. And he says, now, tall woman, what is your name again?
Dora.
Dora. No, that's not going to do.
You can call me
Oh.
Tall.
Tall. That's much better. Tall woman. Listen, it's very clear to me that you are the brains of your little organization here. This is going to be a very long voyage. I'm not very sure about your compatriots. They honestly look like oafs. I have never had to wait so long to get to my quarters. Whenever I've been on a journey like this, normally I could have much more quickly. And just look at the trunks. There's sweat all over it. That's going to ruin the leather. But anyhow, just if you see any other better suited for this tasks on the ship amongst the crew, perhaps, just let me know.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for you.
Excellent, tall woman. You are, we'll say, my goodness, secretary. No, no. You probably don't know how to read, do you? How about what else? Tall woman will do. Okay. Enjoy the ship. Goodbye.
Bye, sir.
So you depart. You guys very quickly can find your own cabins just down the hall. Yours are interior though. You can tell as you go in, everything looks nice. Each one of you has to share with somebody else. So you have 2 cabins. You can see that there's a bunk in each one of them, but they're comfortable for a ship. Neither of them have any sort of window, so it does feel a little bit like you're in a closet. And you can kind of at this point sort of feel the hum as the paddle wheel has clearly started to turn, and you guess that you're getting ready to sort of make off. So what are the splits? Who's in which room? Who bunks together?
Well,
That's for
Lena is
Lena.
for sure with lullaby. Yeah.
Petra and Dora.
Petra is a little bit smaller, so it's easier to accommodate my extra legs. Leg space
Between the two of
requirements.
us,
Yeah.
it works out.
Okay. So you split. If you do try to lay down in your bed, Dora, you realize that the bed probably goes up to your knees. So your whole shins and your feet are flopped down on the other side. It's far too small for you. This is not a mattress that is suited for your height.
I may be sleeping upon the deck, perhaps.
Okay.
More
Who
space
knows?
for me.
Who knows? We'll see.
Hey, Brad,
Okay.
what did he want?
Oh, he thinks we're dumb as rocks, which, to be fair, is probably kind of correct.
Oh, rocks are very smart. They speak to me.
We wouldn't have asked to stay in his room if we were dumb. It's a nice room.
True, but he did not appear to be the type of guy to share his room unless you were bedmates, and he didn't really seem interested in either of us.
Okay. So we'll say you have a few hours between now and when that dining, sort of that welcome dining hall thing is going to happen. So I'm just going to go around. What was everyone doing in this time? There's plenty of things to do. The ship is quite large. You're welcome to explore it, but you're also welcome to take naps and talk amongst yourselves or do whatever it is. So Let's just do these one at a time. So Dora, tall woman, what do you think Dora would be doing over the next couple hours before dinner?
See, Dora, she's not the smartest woman, but she does like to socialize. So she will be walking around and observing people and speaking with those interesting characters that she may stumble across.
Okay. Is there anyone in particular you're looking for? Is there any place on the ship that you're particularly interested in investigating?
She's kind of looking for that tall woman who she saw up on that second deck.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When we were boarding.
Sure. I'll say, you're able to find her eventually. She does sort of stick out, so to speak. You find her up on the promenade. So when you get up to the promenade, it's the uppermost deck. It's essentially open air. There's railings along the side. They're all painted white, but as you get close, you can tell like there's like stains here and there from something dropping from the sky. But the white just seems to camouflage it to a degree. You can see there's a handful of folks up here already. Some are smoking. You can see there's that gentleman with the cane who kind of slipped past you. He's off to the side. You can see that there is this kind of skittish looking fellow who is like leaning up against this large room called the wheelhouse. It's effectively the bridge of the ship. It's where like the captain and stuff kind of like chart their courses and things like that. And that's like front and center in the promenade. Behind the promenade, you can see like the topmost parts of like the paddle wheel itself and churning. And you all are at this point now fully going up the river. You can see the water kind of turning to foam and like falling behind you. And you can see even up higher, the smokestacks are just kicking that dark smoke into the sky. But you notice as you're looking around, there is a very tall woman very tall, very thin. And you can tell that her proportions seem a little odd. Like you could tell she's very aware of it. And like her arms are kind of moved in a particular way. And she just is sort of following around and just not talking to anybody, but you just see her kind of going in this like circular path around that wheelhouse. Every now and then, like glancing over towards this group of people or that group of people or looking across outside. Or maybe trying to peek inside the wheelhouse window. And she's just kind of got her hands like tightly to her chest. And then the two of you just sort of lock eyes for a moment because your eyes are at the same level. So you're both very tall. What do you do?
Well, aren't you a tall drink of water? How are you this day?
A tall drink of water. What an interesting phrase. I am quite thirsty, but I am doing quite well. It's a very fascinating ship we have here with such fascinating people. My name is Maybell. Maybell Holmes. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Miss
Dora Vix.
Miss Dora Vix. I must say, you strike such a very memorable figure.
As she looks at you with this little smile. And again, she's got like a big nose, like her nose is like very hooked in a way. And she's got sort of severe cheekbones and jaw, all very severe features. Like she's a very familiar look to her. And you get like a smell from her, this odd kind of pungent odor, not like body odor, but there's just something chemical like wafting out from her.
What is it you're doing on the ship? Are you traveling? Are you off to see family or loved ones, perhaps, up in King City?
Just business myself, but are you here for pleasure?
Oh, no. I have taken a position in King City. Yes.
What will you be doing out there?
I will be tending to the dead. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it's a family affair. I come from a very long line of undertakers. Yeah.
That's an admirable skill to have. Every town needs one.
Yes, it's true. And from what I've heard, King City is a town that might need more than just one. You see, the last undertaker, he Well, he had a very close brush with death and now has just apparently lost all taste for it. So I responded to a small advert and off I go. Yes. Are you going to be staying there long?
I'm not sure, but if I do, would you mind if I called upon you and visited?
No, I would very much like that indeed, yes. Perhaps we could explore the town together and see it all that it has to offer.
That sounds lovely. Where are you in first class then?
No. I am but a meager working woman. I am in the second-class cabins, of course. The mattress leaves much to be desired. There's not many here who are accustomed to folk of our builds, as you might imagine.
It doesn't even go past my knees, unfortunately.
Yes, terrible tragedy. I've slept on mortuary slabs that are more comfortable.
And she smiles, but when she does, like you can tell it's an awkward smile. It's something she doesn't do very often, and it has almost like the opposite effect of just looking like she's like some sort of Disney villain all of a sudden. And her eyes kind of dart off to the side. She's kind of checking out this. Now, will you be at the dinner this evening?
I will. Yes.
Oh, how very wonderful! I was thinking of perhaps joining Mr. Swenson, who's apparently going to be giving a tour of the ship, showing all that it has to offer. Wonderful things. Would you care to join me?
Yeah, I think that would be great. I'll just have to check in with my business associates.
I see. Well, I hope to speak to you again soon.
Of course. It was lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too, Miss Dora.
She kind of turns around and does like another little spin. And like passes by you once more and kind of nods her head. And we'll fade out of that.
Dora has after she finally turns away and she gives me her back, Dora does look a little confused, with the whole situation. But she's just like, all right. And keeps going.
Okay. Let's go to Lena. What is Lena doing during her downtime here before dinner tonight?
So she's going up to the promenade, and I'd like to think, kind of out of the corner of her eye, sees a red and this very hot tall woman, and thinks to herself like, "Wow, she works fast. Good for her." And continues up to the promenade, and she's gonna post up in some place where I'm thinking a corner where she has eyes on pretty much the entire promenade, but they probably don't have eyes on her. Maybe some people do. But she's pretty much just looking for the easiest thing to pickpocket. Like, she doesn't care what she gets or who she gets it from. She's pretty much just like, what looks like it could come off or be taken real easily.
Okay. Sure. So when you look around for a spot, there's no the promenade fairly open, so you're always going to be viewed by some people. But because of the wheelhouse, you can kind of position yourself in such a way as only a slice of the promenade can see you. There's ways to do it. Awesome. You do. As you move over into this little corner, you are in the shadow of one of these smokestacks. You can see this tenuous little beam between them, and you can see a crewman kind of daredevil style, kind of scurrying across it, with this little hook and such as they're trying to move around. And then you can see the paddle wheel below. And as you kind of back into this corner, you accidentally bump into a person, and you turn around, and there's this sort of unkempt, kind of skittish looking person who's kind of small, kind of gnarled, and they're younger, but they're also, they lived kind of a hard life. And
I'm sorry, I apologize. I was just looking for a place out of the way. You stay. I will find another. I will find another.
And they start to move away from you at this point. And you see, like, they're just...
That's okay. You can stay here.
No, I don't want to interfere. No, I was just looking to find some time to myself. I don't mean to interfere. After you.
And you can say, like, they've got, like, you know, furs and things hanging from different places. Looks like kind of leather jerkins and things like that. And every now and then, like, you can tell their hands are kind of shaking and they're looking about. Like, they look very kind of skittish, almost like a cat that you find, like, in the rain or something. They just feel very nervous.
Like, no, you stay.
No, it's all right. And she'll pull out, she'll roll a cigarette and has a cigarette rolled, and just like, here you go.
Oh,
My first time on a boat. Your first time?
I don't like the water. No, I don't like it. I don't go on it, but I need to.
Feels money.
Yes. It's a big boat. If you don't look out, you don't even realize you're on a boat.
No, and you can tell, like, as they bring the cigarette up, they're just sort of looking around here and there, like, very jumpy.
But and it's first time for you. You said, yeah.
It is.
Why are you traveling? If I can ask.
I just need to escort someone.
Oh,
I'm getting paid to be on this journey. I would take the land if it was up to me, but it's not.
Yes.
So
I like the land, the earth. I like to feel
me
the soil
too.
beneath my feet. This is not the same.
And they, like, just, like, stomp their foot, what looks like, on the deck.
Not the same. This should be trees. It should not be.
It should be. I like your style. I like your furs. My best friend wears furs and he looks very good in them.
And, like, when you kind of reach out, kind of do the whole, like, oh, I like your furs, like, they just recoil a little bit.
Oh, thank you. That is kind. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you for the cigarette. Have a goodbye.
And you see
nice to meet you. I'm gonna try and lift something.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Let's see. So let's do our first roll. So this is, like, there's a risk of failure to this. So this will be quick, I think, is the attribute, would be the correct thing to do. And if I'm doing this correct, skullduggery as well. So skullduggery plus quick.
And my calling is pickpocket. So skullduggery checks to steal an item from someone's person are raised.
Okay. So if you're unfamiliar, if this is the first time you're watching this, you know anything about Huckleberry. So it's a polynomial dice. There's attributes and skills. There's 4 different attributes. Quick, which is like speed and reflexes. Grit is like strength and toughness. Reckon, which is wit and logic. Spirit, which is like willpower, ethics, inner strength, that kind of thing. Then there's a handful of skills, and you can basically mix and match them. So you take an attribute, you take a skill. Each one of them has a die. You roll them together. You add it up. If you get 10 or higher, you succeeded. And if you do really well, then you can start getting some aces, which is like a little mechanic you can use to start doing some extra little fun things here and there. Can
you remind me how a raise works? I have a D10 on quick and a D8 on skullduggery.
So a raise is when you is essentially you get to, for this roll, you get to increase one of your die. It should be your smaller die, I believe. And you get to increase that a step.
2 D10.
Yeah. So what is your dice pool? Let's just do this proper. So what's your quick?
D10 for
and
quick.
what is your skullduggery?
D8.
Okay, so then the D8 would bump for this roll to a D10 if you have a raise from one of your abilities.
I have these beautiful new dice that someone lovely on the stream gave me,
Very
so
nice.
I'm gonna roll those.
Who could that
have
be?
been Ashley.
So I add them together or give you
You
the
add them together.
Okay.
And you're looking for a total of 10 or higher.
18 is what I ended up with.
Okay, so that's not just as a success, but since it's 10 or higher, you can. So there's a little mechanic where for every 2 that you get more than you need, you basically get an ace. So like you can either sleeve it for later, or you can usually use it right now if there's something that you can do to like sort of sweeten the pot. And so for every 2 above, up to a max of 4, you essentially get a sleeve, or essentially get an ace. So with you could technically get 4, but I think we have a max of any one time of 4 aces, so you couldn't necessarily like sleeve all 4 aces at once, because I believe you start with 1 ace. So you have the ability, if you want, to. So you could, I would say, in such a case, like right now, if we want to just look at something in flavor, like if you wanted to try to sweeten the pot right now, which is like using it right away, or you can save it for later. And so you sleeve your aces, you have them as like a resource that then you can burn on future rolls. And so when you burn them on future rolls, you can get like bonuses to your rolls and things like that. So
that's what I'd like to replace. I'd like to sleeve the aces, and there's 3 from my account on top of the one I have, so I should have a total of 4.
One other thing you could do, which I believe is you can spend 4 aces to increase your weird die. I believe that's correct, which means your weird die would go up a step. So whatever die it's at now, so let's say hypothetically it's at a D6, you could take it to a D8, that kind of thing.
So it's right now at a D10. Do I have to decide to do that right now, or can I do that later? If I
no, you can just cash it in.
I think you can cash all 4 of them in right now to bump your weird die, or I think you can sleeve 3 aces because you can only have a max of 4 aces at once. And so I think you start the game with 1.
Okay. So I won't do that right now. Then I'll just keep my 4 aces.
Okay. All right. And so what we'll say is,
if
because
I get
you still have
more, I'll just buy it.
Yeah. So what we'll say is, because like you had like this other ace that that is just sort of floating out there in limbo, or just like increase the quality of what you're able to snag. And I'm going to say you snag you snag a knife. Like you see like in the layering of the different of these different furs. Like maybe you at first were like kind of just feeling them briefly. And as you did, there was something cold and steel and metal. And you managed to very carefully just pull this very beautiful looking knife. And it's you can see there's little etchings and carvings in it. You can see like there's like these little circular kind of like a circular engraving in the hilt, which is bone, maybe. You're not entirely sure. It could be bone, but you can see the blade itself is some kind of crude metal. So I'll say you have a knife on you. This is this fun little knife, and we can make it like a usable thing later. But for now, we'll say that's what you could have snagged.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, as they are none the wiser as you so ridiculously deftly steal from this poor skittering cat animal in the rain. That's what Elena does.
Multiple times that Mavericks don't have to be good guys.
Yeah. Lena gets a stray cat in the rain and steals from it. Like, you don't need that collar. Let me take that collar. Okay. All right. Lullaby, we come to you. What do you think Lullaby would be doing throughout the day in the couple hours you have before the dining hall?
I'd like to do a ritual. So, Petra, the others have run off. Can you help me with something?
Yeah, sure. And she's looking down at just sort of how sweaty she is, and she was, yep. What do you need? What do you need? How can I be of assistance?
You can just make these drawings and place these trinkets around me. It would be helpful.
Okay, you just point and I will place.
So I'd like to find the best place I can, just a small secluded place, outside the better. Just set up shop.
So you want to find a place outside of like where you would normally sleep, and what would like an ideal looking place for you be? Like what would be like the best, like what kind of characteristics of the locations are you looking for?
An open area that doesn't have too much footwork.
Okay. So the promenade would probably be off because the promenade does have a lot of footwork. But you probably could maybe on the first deck, on the deck 1. So when we think of decks, by the way, deck 1 is the lowermost deck. Deck 4 is the uppermost where the promenade is. So that's how that's going to work. So towards somewhere along maybe the front of the deck, now that you've pulled away, now that the ship is fully on the river, and where you had loaded up, we'd come up those ramps and met the captain and met the first officer and things like that. There's not as much activity there. There's these big capstans, like where the anchors are for the ship are currently there, and there's like this big old gear that you wind to sort of drop them down and pull them up. There's not a lot of foot traffic there. It doesn't really seem like there's anyone currently there at the moment, so that would probably be a decent spot to get a little bit of privacy if you wanted it.
So I'll squat down, bring out an old carcass, mash up the livers and insides, form like a bloodish paint, start painting over myself, paint the circles around, and just hum little songs and chants to connect to the spirit world. Okay.
Do you have anything? Is there some sort of mechanical thing you're looking for here? Or?
It's my blood thing, so I'm a shaman. So I'm trying to commune with the spirit world, and I can ask it yes or no questions.
Okay. Okay. Is there a role associated? Is there a role that the ability? Can you read your ability? I don't know all the abilities off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Once per stretch, I can commune with the spirit world with a spirit education roll.
Oh, okay.
And I can receive answers to yes or no questions.
Okay. So let's do that spirit education. Give it a rip. What's your pool?
Spirit is 12. Education is 8. So D12.
All right. So D12 and a D8. Add it together.
13.
That's enough. So that's 3 over. So that means you could do 1 ace.
Yeah. So with each ace, I can sweeten the pot and ask an additional question.
Okay. So you want to use that right now? You want to be able to ask 2 questions?
Yeah, I'll do it. The first question will be, will the plush men be safe this journey?
Okay. So you have got all of these like carcasses around you, these small little games, maybe 2 or 3 of them that you've used, like you've carved into them, you've created these little symbols on yourself or on the deck. And as they're laying there off to the side, you catch out of the corner of your eyes, there's motion in one of them. And you see the mouth of one of, we'll call it like a fox maybe, just goes, no.
Follow-up question. Will potatoes be served for dinner?
Patrick can't keep a straight face.
Petra, I must warn the cashman. Potatoes will be served.
Oh.
What are you? Okay.
Oh, my. We're warning him of the danger. Yes, we're warning him of the danger.
Yes, of course, but I must tell him potatoes as well.
I'm sure he will be delighted to know the menu.
This is amazing. You take a once per adventure ability to ask about potatoes served at dinner. Something you're going to find out about in like an hour anyway. And now you can't use it again. That's hilarious. You're great, love. That's fantastic. Okay. All right. So at that point, you see like that little fox carcass deflate, and you no longer feel that tether to the spirit world. A cool wind blows over you, swirls around you. In this circle, you feel your head just kind of get kind of coated by it, and then dies off. Spray from the river comes up and kind of speckles you in your forehead, cools you down a little bit, and then is the end of your ritual. Okay. And then last but not least, I know that Petra, maybe you gave Lullaby a hand initially, but what else would Petra have done in this time that you have?
So I'll piggyback on this. So do you want to
ask about, will there be a salad bar?
So, and Long can correct me if I'm wrong, but I almost feel like Lullaby sort of does this and then just sort of walks away.
Yeah, there's no cleanup.
with Petra knows
Nature takes care of it.
right, which
Nature
I
is in
think
the crew.
nature took care of it is that Petra usually takes care of it, and so Lullaby just sort of like walks away, and Petra just sighs and just looks around at all of the carcasses and everything, and just sort of moves them off into the body of water and just sort of tries to do a little bit of cleanup here. And what she was planning to do was go for a swim because she was sweaty, and she's glad that she didn't, because now she's sweaty and she's got blood from these carcasses on her. And so now she sort of she looks at her hands with the blood and just looks down at all the sweat. And she remembers this, what I'm imagining was a very small sort of like, basin with pitcher of water kind of a thing in the room, and just sort of shakes her head and just decides, like, looks over the deck because they're on the first floor, which isn't necessarily
and there's
that
not like
far.
there's not like a safety railing or anything like that where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's just sort of
You
looks at herself, looks
you
around,
hear a
and
voice from behind you, and you'd be like, "Looks like you made yourself a mess there, young lady. You need some help." And you turn around and you see this like stocky looking dude. He's got like this well-oiled goatee, and he is just like very enamored with it. And you can see he's just sort of pulling on it here and there. He's not like looking at himself, but there definitely is like a porthole next to him that you imagine maybe he was a second ago. He's like, got a lot of blood there. You need a hand? I can call for one of them there crew folk to come down here and give this a wipe.
Oh, actually, yes, that would be very helpful. I would be very appreciative if you did that. And she looks down at her. I would extend a hand in greeting, but I don't think that would be appropriate. So she sort of puts her hand behind her back.
No,
Petra,
that's all
nice to
right.
meet you.
I'm not too disturbed by blood. Doesn't bother me.
Kind of reaches his hand out.
D. Dillard Dubs is the name. Pleasure to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mr.
Dubs. Oh, just call me Dillard.
Very nice to meet you, Dillard.
Oh, it's nice to meet you too. Oh, yes. Fox. Oh, I can recognize that smell. Not kind of a gamey creature. Yeah, it's me. But
And he is decently dressed. And he's kind of got he's a little heavy set.
But what all you got going on around here? This seems a little, well, some of the mumbo jumbo or something going on around here. What is all this?
Yes, I travel with quite the group of folks. Myself, I tend to be a little bit more what the books can tell you to do, and surgeries and the whatnot. And my compatriot sees the world through different eyes.
No, I understand that. Sometimes you look at one thing two different ways. Yes. My line of business, sometimes you look at one cut of meat and you say, that's just a clear road to Flavortown. And then you look at another piece of meat and you realize, oh no, that's a detour to, well, the opposite of Flavortown, whatever that might be. Land, something like that.
I suppose, and I actually have it on good authority that there will be potatoes at dinner tonight, so perhaps they will be flavorful potatoes.
Potatoes, yes. I was speaking with the cook earlier. They also mentioned potatoes, yes. Sure. Some wonderful cuts of beef they brought on as well. You really didn't have to bring your own game. They're going to serve us.
No, yes, this was just for my companions. He communes with these things sometimes.
Your companion communes with foxes and dead creatures of the forest and such.
Yes, do you find such things offensive? I find it quite interesting.
Offensive? No, of course not. I find that quite fascinating, in fact. Quite fascinating.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
well,
I was a little concerned that you might be small of mind, but I'm glad to see that is as intriguing to you as it is to me.
It just makes me a little uncomfortable thinking that, wanting to know what they might have thought. Yeah, as you see, I'm a butcher. I have a tendency to kind of carve and cut these things, so I'd really rather not know too much of what they're thinking, then I might start to feel guilty myself, and I wouldn't want that now, would I? Occupational hazard.
I see what you mean. They seem to be more vessels of information, not particularly self-reflective.
I understand. Vessels of information. It's a very fascinating phrase. Fascinating turn of phrase. Now, let's say we go get ourselves cleaned up, ready for those potatoes. Yes?
Yes, and she looks sort of over the side. I just need to make quick work of a little swim, and then I think I will be up for dinner.
I'm sorry, madam. You swim fast enough. It's our fast-moving waters and vessels going the opposite direction. You sure you're going to be able to hop back on quickly enough?
That's a very good point. I should jump off the front of the ship so that I can paddle and then come back off the back of the ship. That is very insightful of you. Thank you very much.
Well, it's quite dangerous. The back of the ship, that's where the paddle is, you see, and all the churn and the rough. You might kind of drown underneath it.
Well, exactly. I'll jump off the front so that I can come up the side. There's a nice little...
Jumping off the front, coming up the side, I see.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
And
thank you for the suggestion. You can hang out if you want, and if you happen to see me just go on by, you can always you can help me out. Yes?
You want me to keep an eye on you in case you are incapable of swimming in the currents?
That's such a smart idea. That's two fantastic ideas that you've given me in just as many minutes.
Well, fantastic ideas are the providence of D-Diller Dubs, as you see. That and a fine cut of meat. So, of course, go swim away. I'll be here, your safety net.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like there's danger here, so we're going to roll this, and we might get rid of Melissa real fast.
I am smart. I'm a reckon spirit person. I'm not so
You did
much.
not sound confident when you just said that. It was like Fredo from Godfather 2. I'm smart.
If a D8 in athletics, but a D8 in grit, so it's not the worst thing.
Okay. I'll say, obviously I think athletics is the way to go. And I would say either quick or grit, because I think they both would kind of count here. Quickness, like speed, but also strength. So whatever you prefer between the two of those is fine with me.
Yeah, and I know this isn't going to help me later, but I start the game with an ace, which means that I could...
Everyone started with an ace. Maybe I'm wrong.
Do a raise now. So if I did... No, not... Okay. You don't have to declare that I have.
You don't have to declare. So if you want, one of the things you can do is if you have your aces in your pool, you can spend them to get a +2 on your roll. But you don't have to declare that before you roll. You have to declare that before you hear
that's
my
right.
narrative
It's a +2, not a
outcome.
raise.
Right. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead
Roll
and
them a 2d8s.
what's your pool? 2d8s. Okay.
2d8s.
Roll. Add them together.
Wow. I got a 7 and an 8.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
Because I
So 15?
didn't spend an ace, that means that I can bank some aces.
Okay. If you want to bank them, go right ahead. You can put two aces into your pool for
I'll
later
bank
use.
I'll bank one and spend one for now to make sure that I do well with this.
Well, you're already gonna do well. You passed. So there's
okay.
Yeah. So you can just bank them both. Okay. So we'll say do you just dive in? What does it look like as Petra dives in?
So I think Petra had already kind of changed a little bit before she had come down. So she's pretty much ready to kind of swim in what she had. So she kind of quickly kind of walks over to make sure that she's jumping off the front of the ship, and then make sure that her new friend is, kind of at the ready. And she just dives right in.
Okay.
And then kind of tries to swim next to the boat as the boat goes by so that she can just kind of pop back up.
Yeah. So I'm going to say you pass. So everything's going to work great. You top in the churn of the boat on the water makes it more challenging probably than you might have anticipated. If this was just you regular swimming in the river, it probably wouldn't even require a roll in some cases. But in this case, because you're doing it in the wake of the boat as it cuts through the river itself, and then you're trying to keep the speed of the boat and go the same, it is a little challenging. and you kind of keep pace for a bit, but slowly you feel yourself beginning to trail, and you feel the boat start to pass you, and you manage to weave back over, we'll say to the starboard side, and you don't go all the way back because he's not wrong. There's a big ass paddle with blades, and that could get ugly. But hey, it's the year of killing Melissa's characters, so it'd be fun.
But I'm seeing there's just sort of like there's a kind of a little bit of a railing, and then there's sort of a gap, and so that's where she's trying to come back up on. And
so you go over to that gap, and Dealer Dubs is kind of hustled down the boat here and there, and he's again stocky guy, a little heavy set, beautiful oiled goatee, and you think some oil in his hair. And as you put your hand up to climb, and you're reaching up, this now hand that he has covered in blood from the kill that Lullaby had reaches down, grabs you, and pulls you up.
Oh, that was most impressive. Oh goodness, look at you. I don't know why on earth you wanted to do that, but you did, and you very impressive. If you're going to do something, regardless of how absolutely insane and incredibly unnecessarily dangerous it is, be good at it. That's what my dad used to say. He said to me all the time, no matter what you do, no matter how insane and crazy it is, be good at it.
Otherwise, life just passes you by.
No, he didn't say that part, but usually I tuned him out. Yes.
Oh, just my addition. But thank you.
Excellent. Well, now you'll have to dry off a bit before you go into the dining room. I don't think they would be too keen on you ruining their plush velvet seats.
And I have better clothes than these to wear for dinner. I will see you shortly.
Oh, well, I look forward to it.
And so he'll walk with you up a little bit until you get to the third floor. You go into your room to change, and he kind of continues up. Okay, we'll say some hours pass. Everyone meanders about, talks to some people, looks around a little bit, and eventually we'll say everyone finds themselves. Maybe there's a bell that's rung to kind of let everybody know dinner's being served, or you see a crewman kind of wandering up the halls here and there, kind of calling out, counting down 10 minutes, and eventually, do all of you go to the dining hall for dinner?
Yeah, Dora's actually waiting outside of our guy's room to escort him down to dinner.
Okay, so the door opens up. And you see he has changed his clothes. He's even in a finer, more flamboyant looking outfit. Whereas earlier today, when he first got on, it was this sort of green 3-piece with kind of a golden vest. He has changed at this point. And it's almost inverted, where he has a golden coat and golden pants. And you can see this sort of glitzy, almost reflective green vest. It's definitely the finest fashion of the time. And his mustache is freshly oiled. He smells divine. He smells like a fresh meadow. And he looks at you and he says, "Oh, well, tall woman. Excellent. Punctuality is very important in the manufacturing business. So, have you found any promising replacements for your compatriots?"
Unfortunately, not yet. But
so you failed?
Indeed.
Well, let this be a lesson to you. Failure, you can learn from. So, what have you learned?
As he looks up. He's looking up at you.
Now, actually, could you come down a bit so I could see?
Sure, and she
there
takes
are crates
a knee,
somewhere
so
around
we're,
here.
Looking more eye to eye.
Yeah.
No, that's much better. What have you learned?
Choose better compatriots as well before the mission. Yes?
Excellent. Yes. Oh, wonderful lesson. Now, did you ensure that they were all thrown off the side of the ship?
They're actually inspecting the dining hall before you arrive, so there's no dangers.
No. I seem to recall I insisted on you throwing them off the ship. I'm just kidding with you, of course. Of course, we're not going to throw them off the ship. We'll get some of the crew to do that later. Now, I hear there's going to be potato soup. Sounds delightful. Let us go.
Sure thing. And she will lead the way, open the door, very, polite, etc.
And he just moves through it, never says thank you.
Yeah.
He just goes through. Okay. Okay, so we eventually see everyone start to mingle into this beautiful dining hall. Very opulent, fairly expansive. We're on deck 2. You can see that several round, circular tables have been scattered about with intermixed groups of travelers. So it's not like there's enough for like your own party, and so you're welcome to try to sit together, or you can kind of sit amongst the different groups. But you can see that each one of these circular tables have this beautiful like a cloth tablecloth over top of it, and you can see that many of them have like these kind of globe lanterns sitting over top of them, kind of flickering with oil. You can see that there is a door in the back that you would assume leads probably to the galley, and from it all sorts of wonderful smells are wafting into here, but also sounds, as every now and then the door swings open and you can see one of these tuxedo wearing crew folk brings out like what looks like some drinks or some hors d'oeuvres, and starts serving this group or that group, and you can hear the sounds of like clinking pots and pans and shouts of orders in the kitchen. It is kind of dimly lit, but you can tell that there's some windows that still look out onto the horizon where the sun is now going down. And with every few minutes the sun goes deeper, the lights just seem to be timed perfectly to start getting a little bit brighter and warmer. You can hear the clinking of like silverware. You can hear the mumble of conversation. There's a big old like chandelier hanging above, and that's also got some of these lights that every now and then one of the crewmen come out with his long stick to try to make sure that it's that the flames are at the right level. So I'll ask you all, like, do you sit together? Do you try to mingle with strangers? What do you think?
Sit together. I wave over Dora walking in our new escort. Dora, we have a table.
And you hear Cass, "Oh, no, I'm not going to sit with him. You can. I'm going to sit somewhere else. I'm going to find people more of my ilk. Not that there probably are people of my ilk on this station, but someone at least closer. You see, society is a ladder, tall woman, and I am on the highest rung. You are somewhere around, the middle. I would like to find someone a little bit closer, but make sure you keep a close eye. Keep looking around just in case. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, excellent. Okay. Someone bring me a drink, please. And he's just kind of waiting and standing, looking around. A couple of people who have already started like drinking and smoking and such all around are just kind of looking at him with quizzical faces. And he wanders off to find a table. So do you all sit together? So do you go
As
over
Dora's
to the bar?
walking to the table, she's like, I don't normally need a ladder. He kept speaking of ladders. And then she sits down.
Okay.
Dora, Lena, I spoke with the spirits. Our escort is in danger.
He did say he's top of the ladder, so maybe someone wants to knock him down a ring or two.
Yes, the potatoes. Wink.
What about
with the potatoes?
Are the potatoes the danger?
The spirits will not have any more answers. Just keep an eye.
Did you ask them what the danger would be?
No, they cannot tell me that.
Okay. Why exactly, Lullaby, did you ask about potatoes?
Must have been hungry in the moment.
A potato does sound good. They're doing potato soup, though. And as she says that, Dora is going to do just like an observation of the room to see like where he winds up sitting and who's at his table with him.
Okay. So you see that he sits at the captain's table, which more than likely the captain invited him to do so, which is towards the sort of the front of the room, right next to this large, almost like a bay window, but not quite. Like you could just see there's a little bit of a curve to it. And so you can see he's sitting there with the captain. You can see that there is a woman who looks fairly young. She's got like this beautiful flowing kind of blonde hair that you can see is up and well done. She is dressed in the most extravagant looking dress that you've seen yet. Like your Undertaker friend was much more reserved and a little awkward in some places. You've seen a few folks that look like, frontiers folk and everything. But you haven't seen anybody necessarily, or at least other than Kaz, that is dressed so up, which is likely why Kaz is over there. And you can see that she's like fanning herself every now and then and taking little sips from this large goblet of wine. And then you also see at that same table is that same man that you all had seen once before. He had like the cane. He's a little bit older, kind of salt and pepper. He has a well-cropped beard. And you can see that there's like some white and gray on his temples. He's in the same clothes as he was before, very professional looking, regal looking clothing. Those seem to be the four people sitting at that table. Elsewhere around the room, you recognize a few other folk. So Dora, you see your friend that you met. They're sitting at a table with what appears to be like a couple folks that kind of look like trappers or hunters of some kind. There's one who has so much hair in their face that every time they lean down to take a little draught of the potato soup, they have to use one hand to pull it to the side, and then the other hand kind of takes the sip. You notice that the woman who kind of shoved Cass a little bit when he first climbed on, this woman with kind of not pockmarked but definitely sunburned skin, is at the same table as well. And the three of them seem to be not talking. You can tell that the one who bumped Cass is doing most of the talking. And then there's this kind of skittish looking figure. I'm not sure, I'm not actually sure from the way the furs are over top of them, whether man, woman's unclear and presenting, but I would say Lena would recognize the one that you stole the knife from. And so those four are all standing at a table together. And there's a couple other tables where you see some people who are scattered. So with that in mind, Dora, is there anything you want to do?
Is there anyone who's paying like extra attention and trying to be subtle about it to the captain's table? Or like even not being subtle, like they're just frankly staring at these wealthier people?
You've heard from Lena?
Yeah, there's this woman called Lena. She's sitting at her table, drool coming down a little bit, and then Petra right next to her, also drool coming down. As you think about all the things that you could potentially buy, why don't let's do a little roll for it, maybe, because there is the potential for misunderstanding here. So give me like a reckon test, probably, and let's I would say either probably education, maybe, or skullduggery. I would say maybe like knowing the behavior might help you spot the behavior. You know what I mean? Okay. So either one of those I would take.
I'm going to take skullduggery.
Okay. So what's your pool?
My pool is a D8 and a D6.
Sure. All right. Give that a roll.
And I rolled an 8.
Okay. Do you have any aces?
I should have one, yeah. So okay, I'll spend the ace
to get
the 2, yeah.
Okay. So here's what I would say. You notice that there is a man sitting at a different table who is the first you've probably seen of him. Older man. Definitely looks, I don't want to say like a grizzled frontiersman, but he definitely has like a haunted look to his face. You can see like heavy rings under his eyes. You can see that his hands kind of shake a little bit whenever he brings a goblet or a spoon to his mouth. And you can you get the sense just from looking at him that he's a guy who is who probably has some trauma in his past. Like he has the look of somebody whose life has weighed fairly heavily on them, and you can see he's very, very heavily staring them down. That would probably be one that you've noticed. The second one you would see is a woman at a different table, wearing all black. Definitely looks like mourner's garb, and she's got what looks like this handful of cards that she is sort of turning over here and there, or next to one of these other folks that are at the table with her. And you can tell that even though she's talking to the people at her table, her eyes occasionally kind of glance in the direction of the captain's table. So those are probably the two that are like not so much obviously doing it, but their attention seems drawn away from the table and drawn to the captain's table.
Got it. Okay.
Do you want to act on that at all?
The woman, she will tell the rest of the crew, kind of what she notices. So just keep an eye on them. They keep kind of looking at the captain's table.
Yes, we are all looking there.
It's true. You are all looking there.
Yes, you are very right. And Dora, for now, she'll stay seating, but she might approach them in a little bit.
Okay. Lena, you up to anything while you're in here?
I know I made the joke earlier, but Lena literally is like eyeing everybody in here, and she's overconfident enough that it kind of feels like fish in a barrel. So she's gonna, I think, look for someone wealthy who is not at the captain's table.
Okay.
So she's going to look for like someone that looks, or a group of people that maybe look like they're a few drinks in, maybe like clearly wealthy or wealthier than her, which is not a stretch.
You notice now sitting down at a table with with one of those with the woman who's like dressed kind of like a widow is a stocky man with a well-oiled goatee, well-oiled hair, seems to be dressed kind of nice. You notice a smudge or two, like a dark, almost look like blood or something on his lapel or anything like that. But he sits down and he looks like he says something to the people at the table, and then they all kind of laugh and such here and there, and then he proceeds to like dive in and start drinking. He kind of pours what looks like, we'll say there's like cuirass of wine like sitting in this little nook in the middle of the table that he kind of pours out and starts drinking. He looks well dressed.
She's gonna excuse herself from the table and walk over there.
Okay. There are seats. These tables basically are like 6-seaters, so you can essentially get 6 people at each table. And most of the tables here aren't filled. Like you can see there's maybe 3 or 4 people sitting here, 3 or 4 people sitting there, having like these various conversations. Some tables are a little quieter than others. When you sit down, you catch like or when you come over, you catch the tail end of the conversation. And it seems as though this woman, who is dressed much like a widow, has these 3 cards laid out, these large tarot cards, which she starts to pull back into her deck, and she just sort of remarks to the people at the table, and
it's just something I do to pass the time. It's a very it reminds me that there is more to life than what we can see and what we can hear. And that warms my heart a bit, gives me comfort.
And they all just kind of nod. And there's like a little like kind of golf clap as like she just did some parlor trick and she starts to pull her tarot deck. And she looks up at you like,
Oh, well, hello there. Would you care to join us?
and she reaches her hand out, which is half covered in like a black glove, like this lacy glove.
My name is Sybil Wild. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss...
Lena.
Miss
Lena
Lena.
Marshme.
Lena Marshme. Well, it is a pleasure. Would you care to join us? Mr. Mr. Dubs here just told a wonderful tale. What was it? We have a mermaid. Is that what you said, sir?
Yes, the woman right over there. She's a mermaid. I can tell you that. She managed to swim as fast as the ship itself. It was all very impressive. I thought for sure she was going to drown in the wake and die, and it was going to be a very tragic. But no, quite impressive.
Oh, where is she? Oh, yes, right there. And he points over towards Petra.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's actually one of my shopping companions. She is a mermaid. That is a very good catch.
Yes, indeed, she is.
She
What a
keeps it
wonderful
very
companion.
well hidden. It's impressive you were able to figure that out regardless.
Oh, I was
Not just a handsome man, I see.
You flatter me, madam. You flatter me. I was speaking metaphorically, but she is a literal mermaid here. Well, fascinating. How did the two of you meet?
Well, why don't we get some drinks first, since I
No.
certainly don't want to leave your
Fine,
company
then.
just yet.
He grabs like the carafe of wine and just sort of empties a big old goblet and hands it over to you. And he's like, oh,
Lena
yes,
will
yes,
take as an
indeed.
invitation to sit beyond being invited, but
And so yeah, you sit down. So you're at this table with him. You're at this table with this woman, which we have art of. If you want, Stephen, if you can hear me, go ahead and share the art of Sybil Wild. She's one of the characters we actually have art of. And I'll do the same with there's a lot of awesome art. So Steven's like, you don't have to share it all, but I'm like, it's really awesome looking. So
Steven,
we should
that's
share it whenever we
stupid.
get a chance. So this is the type of stuff you're going to see in like, the actual game. So it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're sitting with that, and then there's like this kind of gaunt-looking, slender man who you can see there's a very noticeable gun on his hip, which has got this beautiful like lion's head, like golden emblem on it. But you can see that like his hand, like every like 2 seconds, is just sort of resting on it. He's very obsessed with just knowing that it's there, and that's apparently who was kind of getting their fortune told. So you do anything with this?
that is a beautiful piece.
And he looks down, this kind of gaunt man, he looks up at you.
Well, thank you very much for noticing. It's my pride and joy.
Pulls it out and just kind of sets it there right in front of him. Slides like the potato soup away, which sloshes around a bit. A little bit falls over onto the coffee or onto the cloth.
He's like, yeah, my pride and joy. I call it the lion heart.
And he's like showing you this, just like this very intricately crafted lion's head that's essentially on the ivory hilt of this pistol. And you can tell that this is a man who is very obsessed with his pistol, you can just looking at it, is extremely well cared for, and it's probably as polished as a thing as you've ever seen. What's a work of art?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Do you,
They know what's it.
And he's like, just kind of hold it in his hand now.
it's a weapon, yes, but it's also a piece of art.
Just a weapon, I can tell.
And he kind of like does this little flourish with it. And he hasn't really smiled, but then when he looks at the gun and he kind of like sort of flourishes it a little bit at the table and like the widow's like, oh, she like kind of claps her hands a little bit. And a little smile comes to her face too. And he like puts it back into the holster, like on all one swift movement, like he's some gunslinger type. Puts the snap over top of it and just sort of rests it there.
Yeah, I doubt I need it for this voyage of ours, but it's the type of thing that I just feel better whenever I have it on me. You know, it's like an extension. It's like a piece of me. If I ever parted from it, well, I would just be a third of the man that I was moments prior.
I can understand.
Yeah, you have the look of someone I think does.
And he kind of holds his hand out.
My name is Richard. Richard, pleasure to meet you. Miss Lena. Yes, of course, I've heard it. This here is, as she already introduced herself, Miss Sybil Wilde. And here's our new friend, Mr. D. Dillard Dubs. You're welcome to join us. The wine is, well, it's not the best vintage, but nonetheless it will suffice for our purposes here.
Better than most I've been able to have recently. She pulls out some tobacco and starts rolling cigarettes at the table.
A little bit of an appraise, like he raises an eyebrow, but not one that suggests he's particularly like offended by it, but more like a,
you be you, lady. You be you.
Okay, so while that's all happening, Lullaby and Petra, what are you two up to?
When the potatoes come out, I've been waiting for this. Toss the utensil to the side, scoop it with my hands, shoveling to my face. And then intently look at whenever the plush man gets served as well.
So, and actually that's what Petra was gonna do. So Petra wanted to go to the kitchen.
Okay, the galley, sure.
Yeah.
You actually want to go inside?
Yeah. So basically she wants to go back and basically say that she has been hired to taste test anything that is going out to, and she'll point out the gentleman at the captain's table. So she wants to make sure that anything she gets tastes it and then watches it go out, because we have been paid to do a job and she's going to do it thoroughly.
So yeah, you head in there and it's bustling with activity. You see this crew folk moving around. All those servers are in tuxedos and such are coming back here. They've got those like tray serving tables. They drop them down and other little plates kind of step on top of it and they load them up and they kind of carry them out here and there. And you're like dodging left and right. Like it's not like this is an extremely well packed. There's maybe a dozen or so folks and then yourselves out, but like multiple courses, drinks, etc. And there is a woman back here who seems to be the source of like the kind of quarterbacking it all. Heavy set. She has this tall, kind of papered, cylindrical hat. She has this like a chef's jacket in some ways and an apron over top of it. And there's smudges galore. It just basically looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. And she's just kind of calling out towards various folks as they're coming and going, like directing them here and there. And when you come in and you try to like interfere in some way, she's like, okay, hold on here.
What did you say? What is the problem here? You're not supposed to be back here, love. You're one of the guests. You go out in the room with all the guests. You stay back here. You're going to be working. I'm going to put you to work if you stay back here any longer.
Oh, ma'am, thank you. You seem to be the person that I needed to talk to.
I very much am the one that you're going to talk to, but you're not going to talk to. Yes. I'm certainly right now trying to work here. I don't come into your place of business and start poking around what you do I? No, I don't.
So we can actually work together. I am also currently working and I'm here doing some personal protection. So see the gentleman out there, Mr. Kaz. I have been paid to make sure that I taste his bowl before it goes out to him.
You want to taste his bowl before we take it out to him? Yes. Are you mad? Why would you do that?
This is what I have been paid to do. And I would
You've
love
been
to just
paid
eat
to
my
eat
bowl.
another man's soup.
but I-
what kind of
I have
kind of
been.
profession is that?
Well, it's protection. He has quite the suspicions, and unfortunately, I need to eat any food that is going out to him.
So you think one of me and my people back here, you think one of us have gone and put something
I
nefarious
certainly
into your
don't.
man's
He
potato
hired-
soup?
He hired me, so he
I've been making potato soup since I was a wee lass. I know how to make a potato soup without making a man all,
I'm
vomity
sure it's
and
going to be
such.
delicious. I'm sure it's going to be delicious, but he fears that something may happen from your perfectly lovely and delicious soup pot to the soup touching his lips. So I have to get it from point A to point B.
Oh, so you think one of my servers is coming here and dabbing a little bit of poison in the soup? Is that what you're saying?
I think none of these things. I'm just paid to protect against all of the
Well,
things
see,
he's paying.
I think there's a bit of a flaw in your logic there. Then, if you're out back here in the kitchen, in the galley here, and you take a bit of the soup, you taste it, and then you put it on the tray, and one of my folk take it out to your man.
Oh no, I have
Well,
to
they
walk
could
it all the
still
way
drop
out.
some poison in it now, couldn't they?
I have to walk it all the way out. I have to get it from here and eat some, and then walk it all the way out.
You're going to eat, and then you're going to bring the man his own
have to.
potatoes.
This is what I have been paid to do. I wish I had different employment. I really do. I'm trained as a physician, but this is what I've been paid to do.
You're trained as a
today.
physician, but you're eating
I am,
potato
in
soup for
fact.
another man.
Yes.
This is the most peculiar thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's sad. It's not the highlight of my life, but this is what I find myself doing.
Well, I suppose if that's what you're paid to do, and that's what you're paid to do, hear him! Bring the man's soup over here. Which one was it? Which one of the fellas was? What table were they at?
The captain's table.
Oh, the captain's table. Oh, okay. Oh, with all the big shots, is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, I suppose
Those
it
are
makes
the
sense.
ones that think people are poisoning them.
Sure. They always do. They're also the ones who probably deserve poisoning the most, if you ask me. But no, they has sold me.
And so one of the servers comes over. They got this big old serving tray. They kind of like this, you know what I'm talking about, like one of those big circular serving trays and all these little bowls of soup and stuff on it. And you just take one, and you take a sip. Are you
I do.
sure? Okay.
Yes.
You take a sip, and it is, without a doubt, the greatest cream of potato soup you've ever tasted in your life. It is divine. Absolute divine. There's just the right amount of seasoning. Perfect salt. It's amazing. The potatoes, there's a texture to them so that you know they're there, but it's not like you're eating stew. It's delicious.
And her face just brightens up. Oh, you did not undersell. This is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And
Some of the best poisons actually taste quite delicious.
Well, I'm glad that I get to eat my bowl and a little bit of his. I'm lucky.
So you're eating from his bowl. Now, if he asks why he doesn't get as much as the rest of them, then you better make yourself known out there. Don't go blaming the kitchen staff for it.
I will let him know his food is safe. And how else would I know it's safe unless I ate it? Thank you. Thank you so very much. I look forward to getting my own bowl when I get out there.
Okay. So you turn around, you start leaving, and you hear her just say to somebody else, like,
I think she just wanted to eat that man's soup. I think the rest of it was just a bunch of phony baloney, it was. Oh.
and then the door closes. You bring the soup over to Kaz. You set it down. He doesn't even pay attention, but you can tell he's been talking. And you overhear him, and he's like,
Yes, this is a very small boat. You know, I've been on much bigger boats than this one. Far bigger, far more opulent. Though I suppose it's very quaint in its own way. Only a small journey. I suppose this is fine. You know, for a person of my import, I would imagine something a little bit larger, of course. And then there, the presidential suite. Only 3 rooms, Captain. There wasn't room for a 4th. I have no personal lounge. What is a presidential suite without a personal lounge?
And the captain, with his giant, like, soup catcher himself, like his huge beard that is underneath the table at this point, he's just eating his soup, and he's like,
I will make sure to look into it, sir. Yes, Mr. Thamer. Yes, sir. I will absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You're most certainly right. I'll alert I'll alert the steamboat brigade as soon as possible. We'll make sure that unions. Unions? Oh no!
And that's when you show up, and you've got this bowl, and he looks up at you, and he's like, "You look familiar. Why do I know you?"
Yes, you've hired me, sir. Your soup is...
Nope, you're not tall enough. I've hired the tall one. That one, over there. And you see, he points to the wrong tall woman as he points to the creeper-looking undertaker.
Yes, her right there. Yes, hello there, tall woman.
And
the other,
woman who's like...
Sir, the other tall woman, not that tall.
The other tall
woman. The
woman.
other one. Yes, there are
the type
there
of
are more
person
than one.
who minimizes people to their size. That's very unbecoming. I'm sure there's much more to that woman than being tall. Is there not much more to you than being tall?
She whispers, "I'm very good with death."
Well, yes, see, there you have it. Yes. You can learn something here. Yes. Did you learn something? What have you learned?
That the soup you're about to eat is the best soup.
Oh, I'm not much of a soup eater. No, thank you.
And Petra's face kind of brightens up, and she's just like, "More for me."
Yes,
what do you plan on eating then tonight, sir?
Oh, what do I want? A leg of lamb. Yes, a leg of lamb. Can you go get me? What was your name? No, never mind. I don't care. Leg of lamb. Could you do that here?
I don't know if we have leg of lamb, sir. Beg your pardon.
Oh, nonsense. A place like this, of course you have leg of lamb. Why would you not have leg of lamb? We're on a steamboat, for God's sake.
If they didn't bring a lamb on the steamboat, they would not be able to get you a leg of lamb to eat.
I don't understand.
I didn't think you would. And she just walks away.
So anyhow, it's very difficult to find good help these days. This is what you hear as you walk. It's very difficult to find good help these days. I'm a very important person. They've hired folks to kill me, and I'm supposed to have these idiots around. That one, the tall one, yes, you waves to the wrong person again. Some strange furry monstrosity trying to wave towards Lullaby, waves to the complete wrong person again. And just constantly, yes, all of them are trying to protect me and my family, in case the Covenant tries to, take me out or something. But I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm sure things will be great. Really? No. And that's the last you hear as you kind of disappear. And then I think that's everybody. Everybody has done something. Is that fair? Is everyone? We checked in with everybody okay. So various conversations continue. The potato soup is definitely the star of the evening. The main course is probably some sort of fish dish, like I don't know, something that would be like of this river, whatever it might be. So like I don't know, like a trout or something. Who knows? I don't know anything about fish on rivers. I only know ocean fish. Sorry. So you and then, like, at a certain point, like, things kind of, people pull out, like, cigars and tobacco, smoke cigarettes, people are drinking brandy, there's, like, a dessert course. And then the captain stands up and is like,
thank you all for your time and for your trust. And the crew of the Divine Comedy, we are here to make your stay as comfortable as possible. If there's anything that we can do that might make your stay, you could get some like lamb. That would be very nice. If there's anything else that we can do to make your stay here comfortable, we would be very willing to do so. Just speak to myself or Mr. Swenson. And he's like, Mr. Swenson!
And you can see coming in from like the hall door, like the first mate steps out, grim look on his face.
Yes, yes. speak to Mr. Swenson here if there's anything that anyone needs, of course. Yes, and he steps back out. Now, have a wonderful first evening. If there's anything we can do, please do not hesitate.
And at that point, like, you can see dinner starts to break up. People are kind of getting up and sort of putting their their plates back down. Like, you can see, like, the carafes and stuff are basically empty as everyone has drank a significant amount of wine. Does anyone want to do anything else before you kind of turn in for the night? As it does seem like people have started to retreat for the evening. It's been a long day.
I'd love to get a reading from Sybil.
Okay. Anybody? So Lena, you're going to hang back and try and speak with Sybil a little bit. Okay, sounds good. Anyone else? What else are we doing?
Making sure he gets back to his room is.
Okay.
Keep me.
You just want to escort him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Dora and Lullaby, the two of you.
Oh no, this is all Lullaby.
Oh, it's just Lullaby? Oh, sorry.
I love that these guys are like, we have a job. We actually have to do the job.
Yeah. This is the most attentive I think you guys have ever been to a job you've been given in any TTRPG that we've played together. It's genuinely shocking.
I am
much?
happily just avoiding the job with a 10-foot pole.
So, okay, so so he's like a tall woman, and he's just see as the Undertaker lady just like looks at him quizzically and just leaves. What on earth? How? Oh goodness, that is.
Yes, it's a lullaby.
Oh goodness gracious! What on earth are you? He looks down. Where did you come from? You are a goblin. Oh goodness! What happened to your face? What is this?
Oh, I'm not a goblin. I am Lullaby.
You're a lullaby.
I carried the trunk on the ship.
You carried my trunk on a ship. What are you talking about?
Never mind. Shall we go to your room?
Are you propositioning me? No, thank you. Oh, I would not sully the sheets
The
of my
spirits have
bed.
told me you're in danger, so I must get you back.
The spirits have told you what?
You're in danger, sir.
I'm in danger. Of course I'm in danger. That's why I have bodyguards. Where's the tall woman? Yeah, the bodyguards to protect me. Yes.
Exactly. I'm here to protect you.
You are here to protect me. You're doing this out of the kindness of your own heart.
No, I heard there was payment.
You've heard? What? I've already hired people to protect me. Why would I suddenly take... Oh, are you one of the replacements for those other dundering fools? Oh, excellent. Oh, yes. Well, it is a pleasure. My name is Cass Thamer. You may call me Mr. Thamer or Sir. Either of those would be fine. Lullaby. Yes, that's not a name I'm going to remember. I'm just going to call you Goblin. Usually the first memory I have of a person is what I associate with them, and it's either that or nothing. So you're just going to have to be satisfied with Goblin. Yes, you understand?
That is fine. Many of my people also take the same stance as you. We call people what we see them.
Oh,
you are plump men to me.
I beg your pardon. I am what?
Plump man.
Pump man.
Plump.
Well,
like
pump,
a plum.
well, like a plum. No, this is gold. I do have a plum suit, but that is for day 3. Who wears a plum suit to dinner anyhow? Come now, do you want me to match with the wine? Oh, Goblin, you are so silly. So very, very silly. But silly is entertaining. That's far better than that tall woman. She was not entertaining at all. Did you see the look on her face? Remind me to fire her later. Oh, okay, Goblin. You are hired. I'm going to fire the others. You, sir, Madam Goblin, you shall be my personal escort. Yes. Are you prepared? Are you capable in the martial arts? Are you able to defend me with your life and the lives of your family members?
Yes, I carry these tomahawks. They've taken many lives.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Oh, well, those are quite sharp looking. Oh, goodness. Well, I feel safe already, Goblin. Lead me back to my cabin.
Do you wish to head to bed early, or do you have other festivities to attend?
I heard there was going to be singing. The blonde woman, apparently she's a bit of an entertainer. Go down the hall to the lounge. Will that entice you, Goblin? Would you like to hear a blonde woman sing?
I would love it to hear some singing.
Ah, yes.
We shall head there now.
Yes, we shall. Yes.
And I'll keep double his pace to where we can't keep up.
But Goblin, you're moving too fast. Goblin!
As he finally catches up to you. Okay. Petra, Adora, anything you two are doing?
I think Petra was going to try to make better acquaintance with beard oil mustache guy.
Okay. So he gets up. He leaves the table where Lena and the widow, kind of the sort of the mourning clothed woman, are lingering behind. But the man with the gun and Mr. Dub stand up and like,
here's the mermaid I was telling you about, Richard. Right here. This is the lady right here. Like, if you look closely, you can see the scales. Hello, madam.
Petra, you definitely see Lena's eyes follow Richard.
Oh, yes. Hello again, Mr. Dillard.
Mr. Dillard was my father's name. I am Mr. Dillard.
Yes, that is how that works. It appears that I am a few cups behind you. Do you have a spare so I can catch up?
Well, over here looks delicious.
and he comes over and he just kind of picks up one of the carafes on the other tables and kind of brings it.
Richard and I are going to hear this delightful woman sing in the lounge. Would you care to accompany us, Miss Mermaid?
Well, that just sounds wonderful. And she sort of looks over to Lena and like make sure that she's not sort of like cramping on Lena's little click here.
I thought you guys were like up and away from the table and like Lena was at the table.
Petra hasn't left the room yet. Pretty much everyone's leaving at this point. So like anything can kind of be heard since like pretty much the crowd is to start to disperse.
Thank you. So in that case, she kind of gives you like that. Hey, yeah, it's fine.
And so Petra just sort of grabs the carafe and yes, we follow up the best potato soup ever with some wine and singing. And she sort of like loops an arm with Mr. Dillard.
Okay. And so you, Mr. Dillard, son of Mr. Dillard, and Richard, the man with the gun, you all head down towards the lounge. Lullaby and Cass have also headed there. I know Lana is waiting for her read, but what about Dora? So let's account for Dora, and then we'll do a read. So Dora, what would you be doing?
Dora actually like approaches the haunted-looking man, and just introduces herself and inquires if he's heading to the lounge.
Sure. So yeah. So the man that you were talking about, when he gets up, his hands kind of shake. You smell not just booze, but tobacco on him. You can see in his eyes that he, like, they're bloodshot. You can see that in like his face is like the capillaries have burst on his nose here and there. He's a man who you would assume imbibes quite a bit. And his hands kind of shake a little bit. And we'll say the two of you like meet at the door to leave the dining hall. You're into the hallway itself. And you kind of introduce yourself. And he's like, "Hello, my dear. Are you attending as well?" And you can immediately get the sense that this guy is a little bit, I'm not sure if it's like 3 sheets to the wind, but you can definitely tell that he is like affected. He's a guy who you can tell he's imbibed some things. Like, are you
heading to the siren song down the hall?
Yes, sir, I am heading. Are you as well then?
Oh, yes, I suppose. But I doubt I would be particularly good company. Not in the best of spirits this evening. So, a young, delightful woman like yourself might find better company with others.
Yeah, I just couldn't help but see that you're so down in the dumps. Are you all right?
No, just these blasted hands.
And he kind of holds them up, and they're just shaking.
They just won't stop shaking. That's all. It'll go away at some point, or it won't. One of the two. Anyhow, don't let me hold you up. After you can go. I'm
Sure,
just an old man.
No worries. And she'll kind of like look over and catch the eye of what was her name? Mabel?
Sure. Yeah, we'll say that they're in the hall. You kind of see her like turning into the lounge at this point. Like when you're starting to actually hear the sounds of like a guitar being plucked and a woman's voice beginning to cascade through the halls.
Yeah, so she'll still kind of follow behind this gentleman, make sure he gets seated. You know, so just since we're all walking over here, what's your name, sir?
Oh, I am Abner. Dr. Abner Badgley. It's a
Doctor. My name is Dora Vix.
Dora Vix. Well, Miss Vix, it's a pleasure, as I said, to make your acquaintance. But as I said, I might just retire for the evening. I'm not feeling in the mood for song, so I will leave the evening to the youth. Yes.
Kind of just like taps you like very gently, like on the shoulder. Like
does he head to? Yeah. Does he head to first class or second class?
You wouldn't be able to tell.
Or can I not tell?
Like, got it. Yeah, because both cabins are on the same deck. It's just whether they're on the front of the ship or the back, and like the stairs go to the same place. So
got it.
You guys are on the second level, but you just see him. Good night, madam. And you see he just sort of disappears down the hall.
Yeah. So then she'll slip into the room and she'll probably get a seat where she can still see Lullaby and Cass, and but she'll be near Mabel.
Okay. So so you go in, you take a seat. Maybe you and Mabel are in the back because you're so tall.
Yeah, we're standing. Yeah.
And there's just a handful of seats. There's a very like small stage atop of which you can see the blonde woman with the beautiful curls that you saw at the captain's table has kind of begun to sing. You can see one of the crewmen is off to the side sitting on a stool. They got a little guitar out and they're sort of playing along, and she's just singing. And everyone quiets when she starts talking, but there's still some like whispers and elbows and such here and there. Lullaby and Cass like come in. Lullaby first. Cass, Goblet, save me a seat. As he kind of points out, like out of breath. And then Petra, were you going down the hall too?
Yes.
Okay, and so Petra will come in. So all of you are there. The only person who's not there is Lena. So Lena, we'll say you hang back, and for a little bit, it's just you and Miss Wild. And so, hello. Have you had your fortune told before, my beautiful young girl?
No, never. My best friend is very good at communing with spirits, but I've never had him do it for me.
Oh, your friend is a spirit talker. Oh, what kind of things does he learn?
Mostly about if there are trouble with dinners. That's really where his focus is. His food-based rituals.
How very. What a very curious use of such a skill. I would think someone with such a skill would use it for more important purposes. But who am I to
Mine
say?
is not to question why I do not have I don't have the skills he has. I'm sure he is using them in an incredibly perfect way that I have no notes about.
I understand. So, what do you think? As she's like shuffling her deck, what do you think of our traveling companions? Anybody of interest stand out to you? That oaf of a man, the one who kept talking about how important he is, how important his father is, how he is so important it seems that people are out to kill him.
Which one are you talking about? There seems to be a few of those.
The plump one who dresses like he's a swine in king's clothing. That one. And you know.
I'm trying to get that one to. That one's paying us for escort.
Oh, you're working for him. Oh,
well, we're getting paid by him.
She's shuffling the deck. Oh, I've heard he's an executive. He says he claims he's.
But I don't know what many of the words he says means, but they sound very important. So.
Well, he sounds very wealthy. Indeed, or at least he talks as if he's very wealthy in the clothes.
He does sound very wealthy.
If only there was a more attractive package to wrap the clothes around. He is quite oafish, as I said, but oh well, you can't be perfect.
Speaking of attractive packages, is Richard providing similar escort services to you?
Oh, no, I have no companion. I am here on my own. I'm moving to King City. My husband recently passed, and, well, there is no place for a widow where we came from. Not that there's much place for it in King City as far as I understand, but at least I will have family there, so I suppose that's better. A distant cousin, some kind. Anyhow, frontierswoman, that sort of thing. So, you wish to have your fortune told, you said?
You seem to have skills that I've never seen before.
Oh, stop your flattery, dear. I am just your run-of-the-mill diviner of the wills of the spirits. You know how it is. Now, have you been a good girl today?
Sorry, I missed that. My team missed that.
She like sets the deck down. She's like, "Have you been a good girl today?" She leans forward. She's got this like wicked smile. Like you can barely see her eyes under the veil. Oh, very disappointing. And so like she does the whole thing like where like she has you like draw the card and stuff. Now when you draw it, just flip it over. Don't do anything. Don't move it. Just set it down how you see fit. And so Lena, you draw a card. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm following her instructions.
First card turns over. It's the 7 of Swords. Oh,
well, there's many things. It's the situation, you see, it's the first card. Very many things this could intimate. Deception, betrayal, cunning behavior. Clearly you said you're not a good girl today. Perhaps it's a reference to this, or shall see.
Does it mean I will get 7 swords? I did find 1 dagger already. So I just have to find 6 more.
Well, we have several days left on the journey. Perhaps you will be able to mount a wonderful collection. When you say you found, where did you find it, my dear?
Oh, just off on the promenade. I just found it in some verse.
Of course you did. Of course you did. And she like points to the deck, waiting for you like to draw the second one.
Which she does.
And it flips over, and you see the devil. Like, oh my, how very interesting.
She does kind of straighten up and flinch. She tries to not have a reaction and probably doesn't go very well.
Oh, my dear, these cards are not literal. They are all open to interpretation. It's a careful tapestry of all the esoteric nature and energies of the universe. This one could mean temptation, addiction, perhaps, or maybe some sort of unhealthy pattern you might be chained to in your life. Would you say there's something like that you can think of?
Maybe the temptation one.
Oh, yes, your souls that you just find lying around. Oh, dear, we all have to entertain ourselves. It's a very long journey. The last card now. So you turn it over. This time it's Justice, or the Justice, I should say. Oh, and her eyebrows underneath the veil go kind of wide. Well, isn't this curious? Could mean many things, but fairness, truth, law. Could mean that some of these unhealthy addictions, behaviors of yours might lead you to a reckoning one day. Could be karmic retribution, perhaps, or perhaps maybe you'll come to realization and change your deceitful ways. Hard to say, really. You look a little upset here.
You said. No,
Yes.
I'm
Well, that's only one possible interpretation. Could be a reckoning, could be a retribution, it could be
reckoning.
Realization, perhaps, that the path that you have been traveling up until this point perhaps would lead you to one such place, and you now have time to redirect.
All right. Miss Sybil.
Oh, I'm but the
how
interpreter
good are
of
you
this.
at this?
Well, that's for you to decide, my dear, not for me. It's all in good
I guess
fun,
we'll have to
isn't
see
it?
if I find 6 more daggers.
Well, as I said, the cards are not so literal. They are for interpretation.
What happens if you've already had a reckoning?
You've already had one. Well,
What if you've already had one?
well, it could be that there are perhaps consequences lingering that you have yet to face that are still trying to hunt you down. Perhaps it's that. Do you have skeletons in your closet, Miss Lena?
Nothing that's worth talking about.
Oh, of course. But if you ever would like to talk about it, I would be more than happy. You seem like such a darling individual.
Thank you, Miss Sybil.
She reaches out. She puts her hand.
You look disturbed. The fortunes are interpretive. Don't let yourself be too upset by them. If
No,
you wish to,
of course not.
of course. Well, I can hear the floozies singing. Shall we go listen?
Yes. Let's.
So she stands. You can hear a creak of her back. She's probably in her late 40s or so, and she waits for you and the two of you are down. Okay. So I will say that the night continues in similar fashion, with people drinking a little bit more, laughing a little bit more. Eventually, though, things die down. The music she's quite excellent at her singing. And the blonde woman, curly hair, they call her Molly, I think is sort of who she's referenced as. She apparently works for the ship. So she's hired essentially as post entertainment. But one by one, eventually you all kind of return to your bunks, your cabins. Is that fair? Or is there any last business anybody wanted to do this evening? It's very late. It's been a long day.
I'm good. I turned in.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like running up. Goblin, you're moving to 1 second. 1 second. As he's like waiting on the bottom of the steps and kind of waiting to go up to the third. You're moving too fast, Goblin. Oh. And like he's like, oh, I drank too much. Oh, goodness, this wouldn't have happened. This wasn't like a lamb. And he kind of, you can see he's up there and like out in front, he's you can tell like he's like, I didn't get enough protein. They didn't have enough protein. Did you get enough protein there, Mr. Goblin?
The potatoes, if they're protein in there.
Oh, goodness gracious. And he like pulls out from his coat like this little can, and like he looks like around left and right, and then like he pulls the top off, and you can see like with his finger, like his pinky finger, he scoops a bit out, and you realize, do you read? Does Lullaby read?
No.
Okay.
He only goes by stories and stuff that's told to him.
Okay. So you don't necessarily notice the label, but you would notice like as he scoops something and starts to like tuck it into his mouth, you realize that he's like literally scooping up what looks like little balls of caviar out of this little can and just like feeding it to himself, and he's just like cleaning his gums with it. Well, good night, Goblin. Good night. And just sort of pats you like very uncomfortably, like with his hand, like good job, and then goes inside.
I will see you in the morning.
What? Oh, yes, of course. And closes the door. All right. So I'll say everyone returns. We've got your various rooms. You sleep for the night. Let me do a little thing really fast. Okay. And despite some discomfort for Dora, you all sleep relatively fine. First night passes. Maybe there's a little bit of a crink in a neck or a back or so. Maybe one or two of you take a little longer to fall asleep as there's a little bit of motion from the boat. And maybe if you drink a little too much, that's kind of exacerbating it, speaking from personal experience. So like these types of things kind of happen. But eventually you all wake up. And you... I would say maybe the first thing you hear is the sounds of Cass's voice kind of calling out as you all are still getting up and waking up. Like, Dunder fools, goblin, tall woman, where are you? Hello? I
Not in
need
my room.
assistance.
Yeah.
You come out as
Dora
Bloodman.
heads out too.
Yeah,
So you
Lorna does as well.
You come racing out. One of you damaged the trunk. I have my third suit in there, and I can't get it out. Which one of you did this? Was it you? Was it you, Goblin? No, you weren't even here initially. I just hired you. It was the other one. Yes, it was the other one. Yes, that's what it was. Anyhow.
That's why we threw him off the ship.
Did you now, tall woman? Good. I was beginning to wonder after your behavior last night, which was very unbecoming, I might add. You are no longer in first position. Mr. Goblin here is now in first position. You are reduced to 2. You two, points if like Petra and Lena are there, you two.
Yeah.
You're fired. You have done absolutely nothing whatsoever to protect my interests and myself. Look at me. I'm wearing my 4th suit when I'm supposed to be wearing my 3rd suit. What is wrong? This is a day 3 suit, and I'm wearing it now. I am going to look ridiculous because of you two.
A travesty, an
Why don't I
absolute
try and open
travesty.
your trunk?
It's too late for that. I've already had to put this suit on. I couldn't come out into the hall without any clothes on. That would be unbecoming. Now, take me upstairs. I would like to get some fresh air.
Wait, didn't you just fire us?
I was just kidding. Get a sense of humor. My goodness. Tall woman, take a note. These two don't have a sense of humor. Goblin, teach them one. Yes? Now, fresh air.
Yes, sir.
Fresh air?
And Dora will get the door and hold it open for him.
And you see like he takes a little hit of his caviar.
Ooh, that's the good stuff.
And and so we'll say like you guys mill about. Like there's like you can kind of get like a buffet kind of breakfast if you want. But like the morning is pretty loose and pretty informal, and like there's not like as big of a grandiose affair. There's some folks that are out and up, and you can tell there's others that probably drink a little too much. Like your D Diller Dubs friend is nowhere to be found. But eventually, like Cass insists on getting fresh air, and you all find yourselves like up on the promenade, and you can see that you've traveled a significant distance. You can no longer see the city, like the town that you all left from. All you can see, like to the east and the west, or the shoreline. You can see some trees in the distance here and there, and like the scattered bits of the landscape. You can see a handful of like what looks like deer or something like that, drinking from the edge of the river. But you know, like as you're up here, and as you see like Kaz like milling about, like talking to all these different people, you can see he goes up to the captain. I'm so very sorry, Mr. Captain, sir. This is my fourth suit. I know I know you expect much higher of me, but this is unfortunately what I get when I am given such substandard employees. As a fellow man who has to give orders to lesser folk than himself, how is it that you are able to handle such ineptitude? And like you guys hear this as he's like screams this at like full volume here and there. All around, a handful of folks. There's people that you didn't really like intermix with last night. Some of them are up here, some of them are not. But you, as you're kind of lingering, as you're letting like your booze finally kind of fade away, let's see, who does it? Dora. Makes sense. You're the tallest person. You got your head up. You can kind of look around over everybody else. You notice that there is, as you're looking at the shoreline, there is like these trees and such here and there, and all across one of them, there's got to be like a few dozen blackbirds. And they're all like scattered, like they're all on every branch and every bough. There's like no real vegetation. It's just, it's very bare. And there's like dozens and dozens and dozens. And while you hear the sounds of Cass's voice begin to fade behind you, you just suddenly hear all of the crows begin to like caw all at once. This loud echoing caw that just drowns out the sound of the river, drowns out the sound of Cass. Kind of drowns out every other bit of conversation, to the point where like when you look, you can see everybody else is like, what on earth is that? And you can see like a few of the others that you met the night before. You can see the man with the gun, Richard, kind of is peering out like, that's quite curious, and others kind of staring off. And while you're watching this, Dora, it's like at a certain point, like all of them just fly up, and they take off right as the ship begins to pass. And you can see that suddenly hundreds and hundreds of crows begin to effectively blacken out the sky above you, and they start swirling and spiraling around above the Divine Comedy, while everyone's looking up like, that's most peculiar, like, oh, what is this? And everyone's kind of looking up. And then as that's happening, you start to see a few of them just begin to dive bomb, and they just splatter across the deck or on the railing. You can see one of the fellow crew or the passengers kind of gets hit by one. And one by one, each of these black birds just begins torpedoing down to the deck. And that's where we're going to go ahead and leave off for tonight. And we will pick up on that in our second session. And we'll ante up and do all that kind of fun stuff that we haven't done yet. All right.
Yay.
Session 1 over.
Heck yeah.
There we go.
So cool.
Nice.
That was so great. That was
Let's see if Steven, you ready to come back on screen? You're not like naked or anything, are you? Okay. Right. We come back. He's like Patrick Duffy coming out of the shower. Oh, geez. Lauren, do you get that reference?
Only from the waist down.
Yeah. Almost not get that reference. All right, Steven. First session in the bag. I think we did like
that was
3 rolls.
fantastic. Honestly, could not have done better. You nailed all the rules. You know it by heart. I've run this scenario several times. I've had a lot of fun with this scenario. I'm very proud of it. And honestly, this was the most fun I've had with the scenario. You guys killed it. It was a blast. So thank you very much.
Yeah, they were all hilarious. Like, what the fuck is lullaby? Pardon my language here. What the hell, man?
My lovely shaman.
Like, let me use my a scenario ability to ask about dinner.
I didn't think about that.
You could have just talked to a crew member. Hey, what's for dinner tonight? Oh yeah, potato soup. Oh yeah. And he talks to the spirit world for it.
So is
So
this
good.
guy that we've been hired to protect, is he in danger?
Is this guy that we know is in danger? In
In
danger?
danger?
Also, are there potatoes on the menu for tonight? Truly long. And I mean this without sarcasm.
Honestly, a
the
highlight.
greatest
So
use
great. It was
of
so
an ability
great.
I've ever seen on this channel in like the 5 years of eating.
That was fun.
I think it's brilliant. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Okay, so that day one over, we've met a bunch of folk. There's a lot of people. You don't necessarily have to interact with every single one of them, but there's a lot of different people. So I wanted to kind of put a few of them on the screen, and you can kind of pick and choose whoever it is that you're interested in, and we can kind of follow up with them as we go. But that's that. So Steven, you want to give us more of the spiel? Where can we find out more information about Huckleberry, that kind of stuff?
It's hard to talk because my face hurts from smiling and laughing so much. But again, all the links at huckleberryrpg.com. You can find everything there, from joining the Discord so you can play sessions with us. If you want to try Huckleberry, join the Discord. I run several sessions, try to run a couple each week. And they're first come, first serve. You don't need to own the game. Link to the PDF is on there. Remember, Huckleberry is in early access and it's going to be getting lots of updates. This scenario is one of them. So if you grab the PDF now, you will have access to all of the updates that come with, probably a few bonus goodies for being one of the early access supporters as well. But I can't say too much on that end. Just know that you are very much appreciated. And Huckleberry RPG, that's about it. I appreciate you all playing. It's been fantastic. You killed it. You did great. So thank you so much. It warms my heart.
Well, thanks for hanging out and showing all the cool pictures to the players so I can show them to the stream. Lots and awesome art, too. I love the art. It's like there's art to come. That's just, like chef's kiss kind of stuff that we'll hopefully see next time. So pretty excited.
I might be biased, but I do think Huckleberry alone is worth it just for the art and the layout. George Sellis did the art, and Nathan D. Pauletta of Worldwide Wrestling fame did the layout, and they both knocked it out of the park. They did great jobs.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like it's beautiful. Like it really is. Okay. Let's do a couple more closing plugs and we'll get on out of here. It's so rare we actually let Steven go first because it felt like we had to. Like we couldn't really
I
felt bad doing the joke this time. But we're gonna turn it over to Maitreyi. Maitreyi, where can we find you on the internet? What do you do?
I am on Two Plays Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system content, depending on what you want to call it. There's a dream player experience that you should check out if you want to check that kind of thing out.
Fantastic. As for the rest of us, as for the stream itself, our next stream is going to be on Monday. We're going to be playing some more Alien RPG, which is perfect timing because the new Alien Romulus movie is out this weekend. Melissa and I are probably going to go tomorrow. Very excited. Tuesday, Steven, what are we doing?
We are playing Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition. Star Trek Adventures ... in Lollygagging. We're playing like next gen era. We're just getting started with session 1. We had our character gen session already. We're doing session 1. We're jumping in. We're going to be running some scenarios from the 1st edition, updated for 2nd edition. The new mechanics are pretty cool. If you're interested in Star Trek or like 2D20, it's definitely worth checking out.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait. It's going to be so great. Hey, Captain, we could have go to Red Alert, man. There's something crazy out there. We got to modify the main deflector dish. Like, it's going to be my character.
I saw a little glint in your eye when I was talking Star Trek, and I knew it was coming.
I'm so excited. I want to do that voice so bad, but I feel like I would make everyone just, it would be unbearable after a certain point. But God dang, John Travolta in space as a science officer would be hilarious. Oh my God, what is happening here? This is crazy. This is oh my God, this is crazy. Okay, other than that, what else we got? Thursday next week, we're back to Simber Room. Friday, we are starting a new game. Our buddy Aaron, who we just finished up our Warhammer 40K, he's going to be starting us on some Dragonbane. So a lot of Free League on the channel. In fact, now we have like 3 games, freely games in the channel now. So come hang out and see some us. We're going to start our characters, but we're also going to start a new scenario. So it's not going to be all session 0 stuff. And then we'll be back next Saturday with more Huckleberry Part 2 of the Divine Comedy. Thank you everybody for watching. If you're watching this later on VOD on YouTube, we really, really appreciate you there. Check out the links and stuff in the show notes for links to all this Huckleberry stuff, Discord and stuff like that. And if you're listening to this in the podcast feed, same deal. Appreciate you as well. We're going to go ahead and raid our friends over at Lost Caravan RPG. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So long.
Bye.
Bye.